Most people retire to their beds carrying the burdens of the day, rehearsing tomorrow's worries, or simply collapsing into unconsciousness without recognizing the magnificent opportunity that lies before them. They waste the most fertile time for planting seeds in the garden of consciousness. But you, having heard these words tonight, will never again approach sleep as merely a time of rest. You will approach it as the sacred ritual it truly is, the nightly appointment with your own divine nature. Sleep is not the opposite of consciousness. It is consciousness entering its most receptive state. When you lie down tonight and close your eyes, you are not shutting out the world. You are opening the door to a realm where all things are possible, where the laws of physics bow to the laws of consciousness, where time and space become servants to imagination rather than masters over it. Now, before I continue, let me be absolutely clear about what I mean when I speak of asking the universe. I am not suggesting that you petition some external deity or cosmic force that exists separate from yourself. The universe I speak of is not some distant, impersonal mechanism that may or may not grant your request based on your worthiness or the proper recitation of formulas. No, my friends, the universe is consciousness itself, and you are not separate from it. You are it, individualized and expressing itself as the unique being you know as yourself. When you ask the universe, you are communing with your own infinite self, that greater dimension of your being that transcends the limitations of your physical senses and rational mind. You are speaking to the power that beats your heart, that grows your hair, that heals your wounds while you sleep unconscious of the process. This same power that operates your body without your conscious direction is the power that creates your world. And sleep is when it is most accessible to your conscious direction. The secret lies in understanding that consciousness is the only reality, and everything you perceive as the physical world is consciousness pushed out, objectified, made visible and tangible. Your body, your circumstances, your relationships, your bank account, all of these are crystallized consciousness, hardened imagination made manifest. And if consciousness created them, consciousness can change them. If imagination made them visible, imagination can make them invisible and resemble something more desirable. But here's what most people fail to understand. Consciousness operates according to law, not chance. It responds to your assumptions, not your wishes. It manifests what you believe to be true about yourself and your world, not what you hope might happen. And the most powerful time to impress consciousness with new assumptions is during that drowsy state just before sleep, when the critical faculty of your conscious mind relaxes its vigilant guard and allows new impressions to sink deep into the subconscious realm where all manifestation begins. Tonight, when you prepare for sleep, you must approach this preparation with the reverence of a priest preparing for sacred ceremony. Your bedroom becomes a temple, your bed an altar, and your imagination the holy of holies where you meet with the divine. Everything you do in those precious minutes before unconsciousness claims you must be done with intention, with purpose, with the full knowledge that you are about to engage in the most important work of your day. Begin by stilling your body. Lie comfortably, but not so comfortably that you fall asleep immediately. You need to maintain just enough consciousness to direct your imagination, but relaxed enough that your critical mind cannot interfere with the process. Feel your body settling into the mattress. Feel the weight of your limbs, the slowing of your breath, the gradual release of muscular tension. This physical stillness is the foundation upon which you will build your imaginative structure. Now comes the crucial part, the framing of your request to the universe. But remember, you are not begging, pleading, or hoping. You are not asking for something you lack, because in consciousness nothing is lacking. You are simply choosing which of the infinite possibilities available to consciousness you wish to experience in your physical world. You are selecting from the vast wardrobe of existence the garment you wish to wear, the role you wish to play, the life you wish to live. Your request must be specific, but more importantly, it must be felt. The universe responds not to the words you think, but to the feeling you generate, the state of consciousness you embody. If you ask for wealth while feeling poor, consciousness receives a message of poverty, not prosperity. If you ask for love while feeling unworthy of love, consciousness manifests more experiences of being unloved. The feeling is the secret, my friends. The feeling is the prayer that consciousness answers. So tonight, when you make your request, do not simply think about what you want. Feel yourself already having it. If you desire financial abundance, do not imagine yourself asking for money. Instead, feel the security, the thrill, the joy that financial abundance would bring you. Feel yourself living from that state of consciousness where money is never a concern, where abundance is your natural condition, where prosperity flows to you as naturally as breath flows through your lungs. If you seek perfect health, do not picture yourself sick and asking to be healed. Instead, feel the vitality coursing through your body. Feel the strength in your limbs. Feel the clear, bright energy of perfect wellness. Assume the feeling of robust health so completely that illness becomes inconceivable to you. Your body must manifest what consciousness assumes to be true about it. If you long for your ideal relationship, do not imagine yourself lonely and searching. Feel yourself already loved, already cherished, already in the perfect relationship that brings you joy and fulfillment. Feel the warmth of that love, the security of that bond, the happiness of that companionship. Let this feeling saturate your being until you are that love, until you radiate the very quality that you seek to attract. The key to effective manifestation before sleep is to construct what I call an imaginal scene that would naturally occur if your desire were already fulfilled. This scene should be short, simple, and repeatable. It should involve you experiencing the fulfillment of your desire in a natural, believable way. Most importantly, it should generate the feeling of your wish fulfilled. For instance, if you desire a new home, do not imagine yourself house hunting or saving money for a down payment. Instead, imagine yourself already living in that perfect home. Perhaps you see yourself turning the key in the lock of your own front door, feeling the satisfaction of ownership. Or maybe you imagine a friend congratulating you on your beautiful new home, and you feel the joy and pride of achievement. The scene should be brief enough to loop repeatedly in your mind as you drift towards sleep, but vivid enough to generate a strong emotional response. Once you have constructed your scene, you must enter into it with all the vividness of your imagination. See what you would see, hear what you would hear, feel what you would feel if this scene were actually happening in your physical world right now. The more sensory details you can include, the more real the scene becomes to your consciousness, and the more powerfully it impresses itself upon your subconscious mind. But here is where most people fail. They perform their imaginal scene a few times, then let their minds wander to other things, often to the very problems and limitations they are trying to transcend. They pollute their consciousness with doubt, worry, or contradictory thoughts. They sabotage their own manifestation by mixing faith with fear, with doubt, creation with destruction. You must learn to maintain your imaginal scene with the persistence of a lover, returning to it again and again as your consciousness drifts towards sleep. Each time your mind wanders, and it will wander, gently bring it back to your scene. Do not struggle with wayward thoughts. Simply redirect your attention to your imaginal act with the patience of a gardener who knows that persistent watering will eventually bring forth the desired harvest. As you repeat your scene, something wonderful begins to happen. The boundary between imagination and reality starts to dissolve. Your scene becomes more real to you than your current circumstances. You begin to feel not that you are imagining something, but that you are remembering something, that what you are experiencing in imagination has already happened. This is the feeling you must cultivate, the sensation that your desire is not future but present, not possible but actual, not hoped for but possessed. The subconscious mind, which is the creative power within you, accepts as true whatever consciousness assumes to be true. It cannot distinguish between what you vividly imagine and what you physically experience. To your subconscious, a vivid imaginal experience is as real as any external event. And once the subconscious accepts an assumption as fact, it begins the process of externalizing that assumption in your physical world. This is why the period just before sleep is so crucial. As consciousness descends toward the unconscious realm, the critical faculty that normally rejects new ideas as fantasy relaxes its guard. Your imagination has direct access to the subconscious, which is the seat of all creation. What you impress upon consciousness in this receptive state has tremendous power to become your experienced reality. But you must understand that manifestation is not magic in the sense of violating natural law. It is the operation of a higher law, the law of consciousness, which supersedes but does not violate the laws of the physical plane. Your imaginal act sets in motion a chain of events, attracts certain people and circumstances, and opens up opportunities that lead naturally to the fulfillment of your desire. You may not see how your desire can possibly be fulfilled from your current circumstances, but consciousness knows ways that your reasoning mind cannot conceive. Do not concern yourself with the how of manifestation. Your job is not to figure out the process, but to provide the blueprint through your imaginal act and the power through your feeling. Consciousness will handle the details of manifestation in ways that will often surprise and delight you. Your desire may be fulfilled through means and by routes that you never considered, by people you have not yet met, through opportunities that do not yet exist in your current experience. This is why you must not limit your request to the universe by specifying exactly how your desire should be fulfilled. Instead, focus on the end result, the final outcome, the state you wish to experience. Feel yourself already living in that state, and trust consciousness to bring it about in the perfect way and at the perfect time. Your job is to provide the destination. Consciousness will provide the vehicle and the route. Now I want you to understand something very important about timing. When you ask the universe before sleep to manifest your desires, you are not placing an order with a cosmic delivery service that will arrive at your doorstep within a predetermined time frame. Manifestation operates according to a different rhythm than your physical world, according to seasons of consciousness rather than calendar dates. Sometimes your desire manifests quickly within days or weeks, especially if it aligns closely with your current state of consciousness and does not require dramatic changes in your self-concept or circumstances. Other times, particularly with desires that represent significant departures from your current life, the manifestation may unfold gradually over months or even years, as consciousness slowly and systematically rearranges your world to accommodate your new assumption. Do not be discouraged by delay, and do not interpret delay as denial. Consciousness is always working, always moving in the direction of your dominant assumptions, always seeking to externalize what you have made real in imagination. Sometimes what appears to be delay is actually consciousness clearing away obstacles, ending relationships or situations that are incompatible with your desired state, preparing the ground for your new harvest. During this period of manifestation, your job is to persist in your nightly practice, to continue impressing your subconscious with your desired state, and most importantly, to begin living from your desired state during your waking hours. You cannot spend 8 hours a day feeling poor and expect 1 hour of feeling wealthy before sleep to override that persistent negative impression. Your entire life must gradually align with your imaginal act. This is where most people fail in manifestation. They perform their technique perfectly, but continue to live from their old state of consciousness during their waking hours. They imagine abundance before sleep, but worry about bills during the day. They feel loved in their imaginal scene, but act insecure in their relationships. They visualize perfect health at night, but talk about their symptoms to anyone who will listen. You must understand that your imaginal act before sleep is not a separate activity disconnected from the rest of a rest. It is the blueprint for a new state of consciousness that you must gradually embody more completely every day. Your nightly practice is the seed, but your daily life is the soil in which that seed must grow. Begin to act from your desired state during your waking hours. If you are manifesting abundance, make decisions from abundance rather than lack. If you are manifesting love, treat yourself and others with the love you seek to experience. If you are manifesting health, move and speak and think from the consciousness of perfect health. Your outer world will change as your inner world changes. As your state of consciousness shifts from lack to fulfillment, from separation to unity, from limitation to freedom, Remember that everything in your current experience was once only an imagination, only a possibility in consciousness before it became a fact in your world. Your current home, your current relationships, your current circumstances, all of these existed first in someone's imagination before they crystallized into physical form. If imagination brought your current world into being, imagination can bring a new world into being. The power that created everything you now experience as your life is the same power that will create your new life. That power is your own wonderful human imagination, operating according to the assumptions you hold to be true about yourself and your world. Change your assumptions, and you change your world. Change what you imagine to be true, and you change what you experience as true. Tonight, when you prepare for sleep, you are preparing to exercise the greatest power in the universe, the power of consciousness to create reality through imagination. You are about to engage in the same creative process that brought worlds into being, that formed galaxies and stars, that breathed life into matter and consciousness into form. You are about to become a conscious participant in the creative process rather than an unconscious victim of it. But with this power comes responsibility. You cannot create for others what they have not accepted for themselves. You cannot manifest in someone else's life what they do not believe possible for themselves. You can only create your own experience, change your own world, manifest your own desires. But as you change yourself, as you embody higher states of consciousness, you become a blessing to everyone in your world. A light that helps others see new possibilities for themselves. Use this power wisely, lovingly, constructively. Do not seek to manifest at the expense of others, but rather in harmony with the highest good of all concerned. Remember that consciousness is one, that we are all expressions of the same infinite awareness, that what benefits one ultimately benefits all. Manifest from love rather than fear, from abundance rather than lack, from unity rather than separation. As you develop this practice of conscious creation before sleep, you will begin to notice change not just in your external circumstances, but in yourself. You will become more confident, more peaceful, more joyful, because you will know that you are not at the mercy of external conditions, but are the creator of your own experience. You will develop what I call the feeling of the wish fulfilled as your natural state, regardless of what your senses may report about your current circumstances. This transformation of consciousness is the real miracle, more valuable than any specific manifestation. When you truly understand that you are the operant power in your world, that consciousness is the only reality, and everything else is consciousness pushed out, you become free in a way that most people never experience. You become the master of your fate, the captain of your soul, the conscious creator of your own experience. Your nightly practice will evolve as you grow in understanding and ability. What begins as a simple imaginal scene repeated before sleep will develop into a sophisticated understanding of consciousness operates, how states of being create experiences, how assumptions harden into facts. You will learn to detect the subtle changes in your own state of consciousness and to make fine adjustments that create profound changes in your world. You will also learn to recognize the signs that your manifestation is taking form in the unseen realm before it appears in the seen world. You will notice changes in yourself, in your feelings, in your reactions to circumstances. You will find opportunities appearing, people entering your life circumstances shifting in ways that support your desired outcome. These are not coincidences, but evidence that consciousness is rearranging your world to match your new assumption. Most importantly, you will develop unwavering faith in the law of consciousness, not because someone taught it to you or because you read it in a book, but because you will have proven it again and again in your own experience. You will know beyond doubt that whatever you can imagine and feel to be true about yourself will manifest in your world, not because you hope it will, but because you have seen it happen repeatedly. This faith is not blind belief, but scientific certainty based on repeated experimentation and consistent results. Just as you have faith that the sun will rise tomorrow because you have observed this phenomenon countless times, you will have faith in the law of manifestation because you will have observed its operation in your own life countless times. But perhaps most beautiful of all, you will come to understand that the desires you seek to manifest are not foreign to your nature, but are expressions of your true self seeking to emerge into fuller expression. The abundance you seek to manifest is the expression of your divine nature, as an infinite being temporarily playing in a finite form. The love you seek to manifest is the love that you are, seeking to know itself more completely through relationship. The health you seek to manifest is the perfection that is your true nature, temporarily obscured by false beliefs, but never actually absent. In this understanding, manifestation becomes not about getting something you lack, but about revealing what you already are. Not about adding to yourself, but about removing the barriers to the expression of your true nature. You begin to see that the universe you have been asking for your desires is not separate from you, but is you, the larger, truer, more complete you that exists beyond the limitations of your current self-concept. This is the ultimate secret of manifestation, that what you seek is seeking you, that what you desire to experience is consciousness itself, seeking to know itself more fully through your individual experience. Your desires are not selfish wants, but cosmic impulses, not personal cravings, but the evolutionary urge of consciousness itself to expand, to grow, to become more of what it truly is. When you understand this, your nightly practice of asking the universe for your desires becomes a form of worship, a celebration of the infinite creative power that you are, a joyful participation in the eternal dance of consciousness, creating reality through imagination. You realize that you are not manipulating cosmic forces to satisfy your ego, but aligning with the deepest urges of life itself to grow, to expand, to become. And so tonight, as you prepare for sleep, approach your practice with this understanding. Know that you are about to engage in the most sacred act possible, the conscious creation of reality through imagination. Know that the power you wield is the same power that creates and sustains the universe, that beats your heart, that grows flowers from seeds, that turns winter into spring. Feel the magnitude of this power, but also feel its gentleness, its love, its desire for your highest good. Know that consciousness wants to fulfill your desires not because you deserve them or have earned them, but because the fulfillment desires is a fulfillment of its own nature, as inflexibility seeking finite expression. Rest in this knowing as you begin your imaginal scene. Let this understanding infuse your practice with reverence, with gratitude, with joy. You are not begging the universe for favors, but are recognizing your true identity as the universe individualized, not asking for something outside yourself, but claiming what is already yours in consciousness. And tomorrow, when you wake, we'll wake not to the same old world of limitation and lack, but to a world pregnant with possibility, a world that is even now reshaping itself to accommodate your new assumption, a world that must reflect back to you what you have made real in imagination. This is your destiny, my friends, not to be victims of circumstance, but masters of fate. Not to be subjects of an external kingdom, but rulers of the kingdom of consciousness that you are. This is the truth that will set you free, the understanding that will transform your life, the power that will make you the deliberate creator of your own wonderful human experience. Sleep well tonight, knowing that as you sleep, the universe within you works to bring your imaginal acts into physical manifestation. Rest in the confidence that consciousness never fails, that what you make real in imagination must become real in experience, that your faithfully imagined desires are even now taking form in the invisible realm before stepping forth into visibility. And remember always that you are not separate from the power that creates worlds. You are that power, individualized and localized as the wonderful being you know as yourself. In recognizing this truth and living from this understanding, you become what you are always meant to be, a conscious collaborator with consciousness itself in the eternal project of creating reality in imagination. The universe has been waiting for you to remember who you are, to claim your power, to take your rightful place as the conscious creator of your own experience. Tonight, as you ask the universe for your desires, you are really remembering your true identity, acknowledging your divine nature and stepping into the magnificence that is your birthright as consciousness itself expressing through human form.
Imagine standing at the edge of a vast, seemingly infinite chasm. Your heart races, palms sweat, and every instinct screams to retreat. Yet something within you whispers you can fly. This, dear friends, is the precipice of unlimited confidence. Have you ever wondered why some individuals soar effortlessly through life, while others remain tethered to the ground? The answer lies not in external circumstances, but in the realm of consciousness itself. You see, the limitations we perceive are nothing more than illusions, self-imposed barriers. Consider for a moment the nature of reality. What we perceive as the real world is merely a projection of our consciousness. Every experience, every interaction, every obstacle we face is filtered through the lens of our beliefs and expectations. And herein lies the key to unlocking unlimited confidence. The realization that we are the architects of our own reality. But how can this be? How can we possibly shape the world around us through mere thought? The truth is, we do it every moment of every day, often without even realizing it. Our beliefs about ourselves and the world create a self-fulfilling prophecy manifesting in our external experiences. Think back to a time when you felt utterly confident, when success seemed inevitable. Perhaps it was a job interview, a sports competition, or a personal challenge. In those moments, didn't the world seem to bend to your will? Opportunities appeared as if by magic. Obstacles melted away. And you moved through life with an effortless grace. Now contrast that with times when doubt clouded your mind, when fear held you in its icy grip. The same challenges that once seemed surmountable now loomed like insurmountable mountains. The world appeared hostile, conspiring against your every move. But what really changed? Only your perception, your inner state of being. This is the grand illusion. The belief that our limitations are fixed, immutable facts of existence. But I tell you now, with absolute certainty, that these limitations are as fragile as soap bubbles, ready to pop at the slightest touch of awareness. To break free from these self-imposed barriers, we must first recognize them for what they are. Thoughts, nothing more. They have no power over us except that which we grant them. And just as we have the power to create these limitations, close your eyes for a moment. Breathe deeply. Feel the rise and fall of your chest, the air flowing in and out of your lungs. Now become aware of your thoughts. Watch them as they drift across the screen of your mind. Notice how they come and go. Clouds in the sky. You are not these thoughts. You are the awareness behind them, the infinite consciousness that observes without judgment. In the state of pure awareness, there are no limitations. There is only infinite potential waiting to be expressed through you. This is your true nature, your birth. The confidence you seek is not something to be acquired, but rather uncovered like a treasure buried beneath years of conditioning and false beliefs. So how do we maintain this state of limitless potential in the face of life's challenges? The key lies in understanding the nature of time itself. Past and future exist only in our minds. The present moment is all there is. By anchoring ourselves in the eternal now, we free ourselves from the weight of past failures and future anxieties. Imagine for a moment that your desired reality, a reality in which you possess unlimited confidence, it already exists. It's not something to be achieved in the future, but a present fact. How would you move through the world if this were true? How would you speak, act, and think? This is not mere pretending or fake it till you make it. It is aligning yourself with the truth of your being, stepping into the role that is already yours. As you begin to embody this state of unlimited confidence, you'll notice a shift in your external world. People will respond to you differently. Opportunities will present themselves more frequently. Challenges that once seemed daunting will become exciting adventures. This is not coincidence or luck. It is the natural result of aligning your inner state with the infinite potential of the universe. This path is not for the faint of heart. It requires unwavering commitment and a willingness to face your deepest fears. For as you step into your true power, everything that is unlike it will rise to the surface to be released. Old patterns of thought, limiting beliefs, and fears of inadequacy will clamor for your attention. This is not a sign of failure, but of progress. Welcome these shadows as they emerge, for they are the very barriers you must transmute to claim your birthright of unlimited confidence. Remember, the world you see is a reflection of your inner state. If you want to change your external reality, you must first change your inner reality. This is not a matter of positive thinking or affirmations, though these can be useful tools. It is about fundamentally shifting your perception of who you are and what you're capable of. Consider the great achievers throughout history. The inventors, the artists, the leaders who shaped the course of human events. What set them apart was not some innate talent or favorable circumstance. It was the unshakable belief in their own potential, their refusal to accept the limitations imposed by society or conventional wisdom. You have the same power within you. The only difference between you and these giants of history is your level of awareness. They tapped into the infinite wellspring of confidence that resides within all of us. And now it's your turn to drink from that same source. As you move through your day, I challenge you to catch yourself in moments of self-doubt or limitation. When you hear that inner voice saying, I can't or it's not possible, pause. Take a deep breath. Remember who you truly are. An infinite being of limitless potential. Then, from this place of power, choose again. Choose to see the situation through the eyes of your highest self, the self that knows no boundaries. This practice may feel uncomfortable at first. You may feel like an imposter, as if you're deceiving yourself or others. But I assure you, the only deception is the belief in your limitations. As you persist in this practice, you'll find that it becomes more natural, more authentic. You're not becoming someone new. You're simply allowing your true self to emerge. Unlimited confidence is not about never feeling fear or doubt. It's about recognizing these emotions for what they are, temporary visitors in the vast expanse of your consciousness, and choosing to act from a place of power regardless. It's about knowing that you have within you everything you need to face any challenge, seize any opportunity, and create the life you desire. As we conclude this exploration of the illusion of limitation, I invite you to take a moment to reflect. How would your life change if you truly believed in your unlimited potential? What dreams would you pursue? What risks would you take? What impact could you have on the world? The answers to these questions are the first steps on your journey to unlimited confidence. Embrace them. Let them inspire you. And most importantly, let them guide your actions in the world. For it is through action, aligned with your highest vision of yourself, that you will shatter the illusion of limitation once and for all. Remember, the chasm of doubt and fear is an illusion. You don't need to build wings to fly across it. You only need to realize that you've been flying all along. Step forward with the confidence of one who knows their true nature and watch as the world transforms before your eyes. As we stand here, having shattered the illusion of limitation, a new vista opens before us. The landscape of infinite possibility stretches as far as the eye can see and beyond. But how do we navigate this boundless expanse? The answer lies in the most powerful tool at our disposal. Imagination. Close your eyes for a moment. What do you see? The darkness behind your eyelids. Look closer. In that darkness, worlds are born. Universes unfold. Your imagination, that incredible faculty of mind, is the very forge of every great achievement in human history began as a thought, a vision in someone's mind. The pyramids, the light bulb, the internet, all were imagined before they were manifested. Your life, too, is shaped by the images you hold in your mind. Your current circumstances, your relationships, your successes and challenges, all are the outward pictures of your inner imaginings. But here's the crucial point. Most people use their imagination unconsciously, allowing their minds to be filled with images of lack, limitation, and fear. They replay past failures, project future disasters, and wonder why their lives seem stuck in patterns of struggle. They fail to realize that they are using the very power that could liberate them to further entrap themselves. The secret to harnessing the power of imagination lies in conscious, deliberate use. Instead of letting your mind wander aimlessly, direct it with purpose. Paint vivid pictures of the life you desire, the person you wish to become. Feel the emotions associated with having already achieved your goals. This is not mere daydreaming or wishful thinking. It is the active use of the creative power of the universe which flows through you. Think of your imagination as a film projector and your life as the screen. The images you project will inevitably appear in your experience. But here's the catch. The projector doesn't distinguish between what you want and what you don't want. It simply projects whatever film you feed it. So why not choose the most magnificent, inspiring images possible? Now, you might be thinking, but I've tried positive thinking before, and nothing changed. The difference here is not in the thinking, but in the feeling. Your imagination must be engaged, not just intellectually, but emotionally. When you imagine your desired state, you must feel it so vividly that your entire being responds as if it were already real. Let's try an experiment. Think of a lemon. See its bright yellow skin. Feel its waxy texture. Now imagine cutting it in half. Watch the juice run onto the cutting board. Bring the lemon to your nose and inhale its sharp. Now take a big bite of the lemon. What happened? Did you feel your mouth water? Did you perhaps even pucker your lips? Your body responded as if you had actually tasted a lemon, even though it was all in your imagination. This is the power we're tapping into. Your body, your subconscious mind, cannot distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. So, how do we apply this to cultivating unlimited confidence? Begin by crafting a detailed mental image of yourself as the confident, capable person you wish to be. See yourself walking with poise, speaking with authority, facing challenges with calm assurance. Feel the emotions associated with this state. The sense of ease, the quiet joy, the unwavering self-belief. But don't stop there. Imagination is not just about visual images. Engage all your senses. Hear the tone of your voice as you speak confidently. Feel the firm handshakes, the pats on the back. Smell the success. Taste the victory. The more sensory detail you can infuse into your imaginal acts. Now, here's where many people falter. They engage in these imaginative exercises for a few minutes, then return to their habitual patterns of thought. But remember, we're not trying to escape reality. We're creating a new one. To do this, you must live from the state of your fulfilled desire. Carry the feeling of unlimited confidence with you throughout your day. When faced with a challenge, ask yourself, how would the confident version of me handle this? Then step into that role. Act as if you already possess the confidence you seek. This is not pretending or faking. It's aligning yourself with a higher truth, a fuller expression of who you really are. But what about when doubts creep in? When the old patterns of thought reassert themselves, this is where persistence becomes crucial. Treat these moments not as setbacks, but as opportunities to flex your imaginative muscles. Gently but firmly, redirect your thoughts to your desired state. Remember, you are training your mind, reprogramming deeply ingrained patterns. It takes time and consistent effort. One powerful technique is to create a mental sanctuary, a place in your imagination where you can retreat to reinforce your vision. This could be a beautiful garden, a mountaintop, or a luxurious room. The specifics don't matter as long as it's a place that feels safe and empowering to you. Visit this place regularly in your mind. Use it as a staging ground for your imaginative act. In this sanctuary, you might imagine meeting a future version of yourself, one who has already achieved unlimited confidence. What advice would they give you? How do they carry themselves? Absorb their energy, their assurance. Remember, this future self is not separate from you. It is you. As you practice these techniques, you'll begin to notice changes in your external world. People may respond to you differently. Opportunities may arise that seem to align perfectly with your goals. You might find yourself handling situations with an ease that surprises you. These are not coincidences. They are the natural result of your inner work manifesting in the outer world. But as you step into this new way of being, you may face resistance, both from within and without. Old habits of thought will try to reassert themselves. Well-meaning friends and family might question your new attitude. The world may seem to test your newfound confidence. Welcome these challenges. They're not obstacles, but opportunities to strengthen your resolve, to prove to yourself the power of your imagination. Remember, the world you experience is a reflection of your inner state. As you consistently hold the image and feeling of unlimited confidence, your outer world will have no choice but to reshape itself to match. This is not magic or wishful thinking. It is the operation of universe. Think of it this. Your imagination is like a garden. The thoughts and images you plant that will inevitably grow and bear fruit in your life. But like any garden, it requires tending. You must weed out the thoughts of doubt and limit. You must water and nurture the seeds of confidence and success. And you must have patience, knowing that while the fruits of your labor may not be immediately visible, they are growing stronger every day. As we approach the end of this exploration of the power of imagination, I invite you to make a commitment to yourself. Pledge to dedicate time each day to consciously using your imagination to cultivate unlimited confidence. Whether it's 5 minutes or an hour, make it a non-negotiable part of your daily routine. Treat it with the same importance you would any other vital task. Start your day by imagining yourself moving through your activities with unshakable confidence. End your day by revisiting your successes, no matter how small, and amplifying them in your mind. Throughout the day, catch yourself in moments of doubt or fear and consciously shift to your confident self-image. Remember, you are not creating something new. You are uncovering what has always been there beneath the layers of limiting beliefs and societal conditioning. The confident, capable, powerful you is not a fantasy. It is your true nature. Your imagination is simply the tool to bring it into full glory. As we transition to our final exploration, carry with you this truth. Your imagination is the workshop where your life is crafted. Use it wisely, use it consistently, and watch as the seeds of unlimited confidence blossom into the full flower of a life lived without limits. As the power of imagination takes root in your consciousness, we arrive at the crux of our exploration, embodying unlimited confidence. This is where thought transforms into being, where the inner vision becomes outer reality. It's time to step fully into the role you've imagined for yourself. What does unlimited confidence look like in action? How does it move, speak, and interact with the world? These are not idle questions, for in answering them, you begin to shape your new reality. The law of assumption states that to attain your desires, you must assume the feeling of their fulfillment. In other words, to embody unlimited confidence, you must feel and act as if you already possess it. This might seem like a paradox at first. How can you act confident if you don't feel confident? But herein lies the transformative power of this principle. The act of assuming the state you desire brings it into being. Think of it as stepping into a role, much like an actor does. When a great actor takes on a part, they don't merely recite lines. They become the character, adopting their mannerisms, their way of thinking, their emotional responses. In the same way, you must become the confident version of yourself you've imagined. Start with your physical presence. How does a person with unlimited confidence carry themselves. Stand tall, shoulders back, chin up. Feel your feet firmly planted on the ground as if you're rooted to the earth. Take up space unapologetically. Your body language speaks volumes before you ever open your mouth. Now pay attention to your breath. Confidence is reflected in calm, steady breathing. Take deep, slow breaths from your diaphragm. Feel your chest expand with each inhalation, filling you with vitality and assurance. As you exhale, release any tension or doubt. Your voice is another powerful tool in embodying confidence. Speak clearly and deliberately. Lower the pitch of your voice slightly and speak from your chest rather than your throat. Pause between sentences, comfortable with moments of silence. Remember, confident people don't rush to fill every gap in conversation. But physical presence is only the beginning. True embodiment of unlimited confidence comes from aligning your thoughts, emotions, and actions with this state of being. This requires constant vigilance and practice. You must catch yourself in moments of doubt or insecurity and consciously shift back into your confident state. How would the most confident version of me handle this? Then act accordingly. Especially if it feels uncomfortable at first. Remember, growth happens at the edge of your comfort zone. One powerful technique for maintaining unwavering faith in your confident self is the use of I am statements. These are not mere affirmations, but declarations of your true nature. I am confident. I am capable. I am worthy. Repeat these to yourself throughout the day, not as something you hope to be, but statements of fact. As you embody this state of unlimited confidence, you'll find that your perception of the world shifts. Challenges become opportunities. Failures become lessons. The opinions of others lose their power over you. This is not because the world has changed, but because you have changed your relationship to it. But what about when doubt creeps in? When old patterns of thought threaten to undermine your newfound confidence? This is where the practice of self-observation becomes crucial. Watch your thoughts as if from a distance. Notice when negative self-talk arises, but don't engage with it. Simply observe it, acknowledge it, and then gently redirect your focus to your confident state. Remember, confidence is not the absence of fear or doubt. It's the ability to act in spite of these feelings. In fact, feeling fear and doing it anyway is one of the most powerful ways to build genuine confidence. Each time you face a fear, you prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you thought. As you move through your day, embody unlimited confidence. Pay attention to how others respond to you. You may notice people treating you with more respect, listening more attentively to your ideas, or seeking out your company. This is not because you become a different person, but because you're projecting a different energy into the world. However, be prepared for some resistance. As you step into your power, it may threaten those around you who are still trapped in their own limiting beliefs. Some may try to pull you back into old patterns of behavior. Stand firm in your new state of being. Your confidence is not dependent on their approval. One of the most powerful ways to embody unlimited confidence is through action. Set ambitious goals for yourself and take bold steps towards achieving them. Each small success builds upon the last, creating a positive feedback loop of confidence and achievement. But what about when you fall short of your goals? This is where many people falter, allowing setbacks to erode their confidence. Instead, view these moments as opportunities for growth. Analyze what went wrong without judgment. Extract the lesson, adjust your approach, and try again. Remember, confidence is not about never failing. It's about knowing you can handle whatever comes your way. As you continue to embody unlimited confidence, you'll find that it becomes easier and more natural. What once required conscious effort now becomes second nature. You're not pretending to be confident anymore. This is the power of persistent assumption. It transforms your very being. But this transformation is not just for your own benefit. As you embody unlimited confidence, you become a beacon for others. Your presence inspires those around you to step into their own power. Without saying a word, you give others permission to be their best selves. Think about the ripple effect this can have. Your confidence empowers a friend to pursue their dreams. They, in turn, inspire others. Before long, you set in motion a chain reaction of empowerment and positive change. This is how individuals transform societies. As we near the end of our exploration, I want to emphasize a crucial point. Embodying unlimited confidence is not a destination, but a journey. It's a daily practice, a moment-by-moment choice to align with your highest self. There will be days when it feels effortless, and days when it requires every ounce of your will. Embrace both. They're all part of it. Remember, too, that true confidence is not about being better than others. It's about being the best version of yourself. It's about recognizing your inherent worth and living from that place of self-assurance. When you embody this state, you naturally lift others up rather than tearing them down. In your journey of embodying unlimited confidence, be patient with yourself. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small it may seem. Each time you choose confidence over doubt, each time you take a bold action, each time you speak your truth, you are reinforcing this new way of being. As we conclude, I invite you to take a moment to reflect on how far you've come. Think back to where you were at the beginning of this exploration. Notice the shift in your energy, your perspective, your very being. This is just the beginning. From this moment forward, commit to living from a place of unlimited confidence. Let it infuse every aspect of your life, your relationships, your work, your dreams. Know that you have within you everything you need to face any challenge and seize any opportunity. Step into the world with your head held high, your heart open, and your spirit unshakable. You are no longer bound by the illusions of limitation. You have harnessed the power of your imagination. And now you embody the very essence of unlimited confidence. Go forth and create the life you've imagined. The world is waiting for the unique gifts only you can offer. And remember, in every moment, you have a choice to shrink back into old patterns or to stand tall in your newfound confidence. Choose wisely, choose boldly, choose confidence. Your journey of unlimited confidence starts now. Every step you take, every word you speak, every thought you think is an opportunity to reinforce this new way of being. Embrace it fully, live it wholeheartedly, and watch as your world transforms before your eyes. The power has always been within you. Now you know how to use it. Go forth with unlimited confidence and create the extraordinary life you were born to live.
Let us turn to the ancient wisdom found in Scripture. For the Bible is not a record of historical events, but the greatest psychological drama ever written. It reveals the pattern by which man may consciously rise to higher levels of himself. Be still and know that I am God. These words from the 46th Psalm contain the very essence of our discussion tonight. In stillness, in quiet, in the absence of effort, you discover your true identity as God, the operant power in the universe. I have often shared the story of my own discovery of this law. It was not through outward seeking, but through an inward journey. When I found myself in Barbados, having promised my family I would be with them for Christmas, but lacking the financial means to make the journey, I did not struggle outwardly. Instead, I lay upon my bed in New York City and transported myself in imagination to my family home. I slept in my childhood bed, heard the familiar sounds of the island, felt the tropical breeze upon my skin, and embraced my family members with joy. I lived from the end, experiencing in imagination what I desired to experience in reality, and within days, without any outer effort on my part, the means to make the journey materialize. This is the meaning of building yourself quietly. It is not about outer show or the approval of others. It is not about struggle or strain or sacrifice. It is about the quiet assumption of the state of consciousness that would be yours if you already possess what you desire. Consider the words of the Master. When you pray, go into your room and shut the door and pray to your Father who is in secret, and your Father who sees in secret will reward you openly. Your room is your mind. The door you shut is the silencing of your senses, and the Father in secret is your own wonderful human imagination, the creative power that brings forth all things. The open reward is the visible manifestation in your world. Tonight, I urge you to give up the belief that anything outside yourself has power over you. Give up the struggle to change outer conditions, for they are but reflections of your inner state. Instead, turn within. In the quiet of your own being, assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Feel the naturalness of being the person you desire to be. Feel the reality of possessing what you seek to possess. Feel the relief, the satisfaction, the joy that would be yours if your desire were already an accomplished fact. The outer world may tell you this is fantasy, that you are deceiving yourself. It may point to evidence that contradicts your assumption. But I say to you, the evidence of your senses is but the harvest of past assumptions. If you would change the harvest, you must now sow different seeds in the fertile soil of your imagination. In this quiet building of yourself, persistence is essential. You must be faithful to your assumption. If, for example, you wish to be financially secure, you must not only assume the feeling of wealth in a single meditation, but must continue in that assumption as you move through your day. When doubts arise, as they inevitably will, gently bring your attention back to the feeling of your wish fulfilled. This is not self-deception. It is the highest form of truth. For what you are assuming is the only reality, and the outer world must reshape itself to conform to that inner conviction. Many fail in this work because they give up too soon. They assume the feeling of their wish fulfilled for a brief period, but then return to their habitual state of consciousness. Remember the parable of the fig tree. When the master cursed it, nothing appeared to happen immediately, but the tree was withered from its roots, though the evidence was not yet visible. So it is with your assumptions. The moment you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, your desire begins to move toward manifestation, though the outer evidence may not be immediately apparent. Let me share with you a letter I received just last week. A gentleman who had attended these talks wrote to me saying that for years he had struggled to advance in his profession. Despite his qualifications and hard work, promotion seemed always to elude him. After hearing our discussions on the law of assumption, he began each night before sleep to experience in imagination the congratulations of his colleagues on his new position. He felt the handshakes, heard the words of praise, experienced the satisfaction of his increased salary. He did this quietly, telling no one of his inner work. Within 2 months, a position was created specifically for him, a position that had previously existed in his company at exactly the salary he had imagined. He built himself quietly, and the outer world reshaped itself to match his inner assumption. This is the pattern. First, clarify your desire. Second, construct a scene which would imply the fulfillment of that desire. Third, immerse yourself in that scene until it takes on the tones of reality. Fourth, from that state of fulfilled desire, open your eyes to the outer world. And fifth, remain faithful to your new assumption regardless of contrary evidence. This is how you build yourself quietly. Now let us delve deeper into the nature of consciousness, for this is the material with which you build. Your consciousness is the only reality. All that you perceive outside yourself is but a manifestation of states within yourself. The people, circumstances, and events of your life are drawn to you by the magnetic power of your dominant assumptions. As within, so without. This is the great law. Many of you have been taught that your consciousness is limited, that you are merely human, separate from the divine creative power. But I tell you that your own wonderful human imagination is God in action. I and my Father are one, said the Master, and this is true of every man. The creative power that you attribute to a God outside yourself is your own imagination, and the world around you is nothing more than your own consciousness made visible. When you truly grasp this, you will understand why building yourself quietly is so powerful. For if all is consciousness, then by changing your consciousness, by assuming a new state, you literally become a new being. And that new being must express itself in your world. But how do you effectively change your consciousness? Through the controlled use of imagination, while in a state akin to sleep. This state is quiet, receptive state where the senses are diminished and attention is focused inward, is where all creation begins. In this state, imaginal acts have a transformative power that they lack when you are fully awake and attentive to the outer world. Let me give you a simple technique to practice. Tonight, as you lie in bed preparing for sleep, clarify in your mind what you wish to be. Perhaps you desire to be confident, healthy, wealthy, or loved. Whatever it may be, formulate a scene that would imply this state has been realized. If health is your desire, imagine a friend congratulating you on your vibrant appearance. If prosperity is your aim, feel the satisfaction of seeing a bank statement with the figures that would delight you. Then, with your eyes closed, enact this scene. See it clearly, hear the sounds that would accompany it. Feel the emotions that would be yours in the fulfilled state. Do this until the imaginal scene takes on the feeling of reality. Then, still immersed in this feeling, drift off to sleep. In this way, you are building yourself quietly, impressing upon your subconscious mind the new concept of self. The subconscious does not argue or question. It simply accepts what you present to it in feeling, and then proceeds to express that state. This is why feeling is the secret. It is not enough to intellectually affirm your desire or to visualize it without emotion. You must feel the reality of the state desired. Feeling is the prayer, and prayer is answered when the feeling is absorbed by the subconscious. As you continue this practice night after night, you will notice subtle changes in your daytime experience. Opportunities that align with your desire will begin to present themselves. People who can assist you will be drawn into your life. Circumstances will arrange themselves to facilitate the expression of your new state of being. All of this will happen without your conscious effort or planning. This is the law in action. Remember, you are not creating something new. You are simply selecting and expressing a state that already exists within the infinite variety of states that comprise your complete self. In the realm of consciousness, all possible states of being exist now. When you assume a state in imagination, you are not creating it. You are occupying it, and by occupying it, you make it your own. This understanding frees you from the anxious striving that characterizes so much of human existence. You need not worry about how your desire will be fulfilled. The law itself contains the means of fulfillment. Your only responsibility is to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and to persist in that assumption. The how is not your concern. Think of the acorn. Within it lies all the potential of the mighty oak. Yet the acorn does not worry about how it will become an oak. It simply rests in the soil, allowing the law of growth to operate through it. So it is with your desires. Plant them as seeds in the fertile soil of your consciousness. Water them with the feeling of reality, and they must grow into manifestation. This is law. I am often asked, but what are the desires of others? What if my desire conflicts with another's? The answer is simple. There is no competition in consciousness. What you desire for yourself, desire for others. See their fulfillment and happiness just as clearly as you see your own. In the realm of consciousness, there is infinite abundance. Your good does not come at the expense of another's, but adds to the expression of good in the world. This relates to another aspect of building yourself quietly, the importance of silence regarding your inner work. The Master advised, let not thy left hand know what thy right hand doeth. There is wisdom in this counsel. When you speak prematurely of your intentions, or share your technique with those who do not understand the law, you often dissipate the energy of your assumption. The unbelief or skepticism of others can weaken your faith if you are not yet firmly established in your new concept of self. Furthermore, the very act of talking about what you are doing shifts your attention from the feeling of the wish fulfilled to the process of achieving it. And since attention is the tool with which you impress the subconscious, this shifting can delay the manifestation of your desire. So build yourself quietly. Keep your own counsel. Let your results speak for you. When others notice the changes in your life and ask how you accomplished them, then you may share this law, but even then speak only to those who have ears to hear. Let me share with you another letter, this one from a woman who had struggled with chronic illness for over a decade. After learning of the law of assumption, she began each night to experience herself as vibrantly healthy. She felt the energy flowing through her body, imagined herself engaging in activities that had long been impossible for her, and gave thanks for her perfect health. She told no one of this practice, not even her husband. Within 3 months, her condition had improved so dramatically that her physicians were astounded. Tests that had previously confirmed her illness now showed no trace of it. She had built herself quietly, and her body conformed to her new self-concept. This is not isolated or exceptional. It is the normal operation of law. What you believe, what you truly accept as real in the depths of your being, must objectify itself in your experience. According to your faith, be it done unto you is not a religious platitude, but a statement of psychological law. Now, some of you may be thinking that this sounds too simple, that something so powerful cannot be so easily accessible. But I ask you, must a thing be difficult to be true? The operation of this law is simple, though the discipline required to apply it consistently may challenge you. The challenge lies not in the technique itself, but in your willingness to persist despite appearances. For when you begin this practice, the evidence of your senses will contradict your assumption. Everything in your outer world will proclaim that your imaginal act is but fantasy. This is the testing point. Will you be faithful to the unseen reality of your assumption, or will you bow down to the evidence of your senses? Those who succeed are those who understand that the outer world is a shadow, a reflection of inner states. Just as it takes time for the fruit to appear after a seed is planted, so there is a psychological gestation period between your assumption and its visible manifestation. During this interval, you must persist in your assumption regardless of appearances. You must live from your desired state, not for it. Living from the end means that you do not look for your desire. You look from your desire. You see the world as you would see it if your desire were already fulfilled. The shift in consciousness from seeking to possessing, from wanting to having, is the essence of effective prayer. Prayer is not begging a power outside yourself to change your circumstances. Prayer is claiming in consciousness what is already yours in potential and feeling the joy of that possession before its physical manifestation. When you pray in this manner, assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are applying the highest form of creative power. This understanding transforms your approach to every aspect of life. You no longer see yourself as a victim of circumstances, but as the creator of circumstances. You no longer feel the need to manipulate others or force situations, for you know that by changing yourself within, you change your outer world without effort. Consider your relationships. If you wish to be loved, you must first assume the feeling of being loved. If you wish for recognition in your career, you must assume the feeling of being recognized. If you wish for abundance, you must assume the feeling of abundance. The outer manifestation follows the inner assumption with mathematical precision. This is why so many conventional approaches to change fail. They attempt to alter effects while leaving the cause consciousness unchanged. It is like trying to dispel darkness by fighting it with a stick. The only way to remove darkness is to introduce light. Similarly, the only way to remove an unwanted condition from your life is to introduce the opposite state in consciousness. If you are experiencing lack, do not fight against it or complain about it, for that only perpetuates the consciousness of lack. Instead, assume the feeling of abundance. If you are experiencing illness, do not focus on the symptoms, for that intensifies the state of illness. Instead, assume the feeling of perfect health. If you are experiencing conflict in a relationship, do not analyze the conflict or blame the other person, for that solidifies the state of conflict. Instead, assume the feeling of harmonious relationship. The technique is always the same. Identify the state you wish to occupy. Construct a scene that implies you already occupy. Immerse yourself in that scene until it feels real. And then, from that state, view the world. The degree of your success will be determined by the degree to which you can make your imaginal act feel natural. For imagination creates reality, but only when what you imagine is felt as real. And feeling is the result of self-persuasion. You must persuade yourself of the reality of your assumption. until your whole being accepts it. This is the meaning of belief. Many fail because they try to imagine something they find impossible to believe. Start with something that does not overly challenge your sense of what is possible. As you experience success in these smaller manifestations, your faith in the law will grow, and you will be able to apply it to increasingly significant areas of your life. But whether your desire seems small or great in the eyes of the world matters not at all. The same law operates in every instance. The creative process does not know difficulty. It knows only law. When you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, the law begins to operate to bring about the conditions needed for the objective realization of your assumption. Let me emphasize again the importance of persistence. You must not take your desires out of the invisible realm prematurely. Just as a farmer does not dig up his seeds to see if they are growing, so you must not constantly check your progress or revise your approach based on outer evidence. The seed has been planted in consciousness. Your task now is to water it with continued assumption until it breaks through into visible manifestation. One of the most common reasons for failure is the tendency to switch back and forth between the new state and the old. Each time you return to the old state, you undo some of the work accomplished in assuming the new. You must make a clean break with the old state. You must die to the old man in order to live as the new. This is the true meaning of rebirth, to cease identifying with what you were and to fully identify with what you desire to be. I am sometimes asked about the nature of desire itself. If consciousness is the only reality, and if all states already exist within consciousness, then where do our desires come from? The answer is that desire is God's word knocking at the door of your attention. When you feel a genuine desire, it is evidence that the fulfillment of that desire exists now in the invisible realm and is seeking expression through you. So do not feel guilty about your desires or judge them by conventional standards of morality. All states are inherently divine, for they are all within consciousness, which is God. The only relevant question is, what state do you wish to occupy? Once you have made your choice, the means of fulfillment will flow naturally from your assumption of the state. This is why building yourself quietly is so powerful. In the silence of your own mind, free from the judgments and opinions of others, you can select the state that represents your heart's desire and occupy it through the controlled use of your imagination. And since imagination is the creative power, what you imagine with feeling must objectify itself in your world. Let me address another question that often arises: what of effort? What of action? There is a common misconception that this teaching encourages passivity. Nothing could be further from the truth. Action is an essential part of the expression of a state. But it must be the right kind of action that flows naturally from your new state of consciousness. When you have successfully assumed the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you will find yourself compelled from within to take certain actions. These actions will not be the strained efforts of someone trying to achieve a goal. They will be the natural behaviors of someone who already has achieved it. And these inspired actions lead effortlessly to the objective realization of your desire. A man who assumes wealth thinks differently, makes decisions differently, notices opportunities that the man assuming poverty would miss. A woman who assumes health moves differently, eats differently, responds to her body differently than the woman assuming illness. The actions flow from the state, not the other way around. So yes, you will act, but your actions will be determined by the state of consciousness from which they spring. First the assumption, then the actions appropriate to that assumption, then the outer manifestation. This is the sequence of creation. Let me share one more letter, this one from a man who had been seeking a very specific home for his family. For 2 years he had searched without success for a house that met all his criteria and was within his price range. After learning of the law of assumption, he began to experience in imagination the feeling of living in his ideal home. He imagined moving through the rooms, entertaining friends in the space, watching his children play in the yard. He did this each night as he fell asleep. Within weeks, a realtor called him about a property that had just come on the market, a property that matched his specifications precisely. What's more, the asking price was slightly below what he had budgeted. Upon inquiry, he discovered that the owner was someone he had met briefly at a social gathering months before. The transaction proceeded smoothly, and he is now living in the home he had so clearly imagined. Did this man find his ideal home because of luck or coincidence? By no means. He found it because he had assumed the state of already living there, and the law operated to bring the outer circumstances into alignment with his inner assumption. He built himself quietly, and his world reshaped itself accordingly. I tell you these stories not to impress you, but to impress upon you the reliability of the law. It works for all who apply it correctly, regardless of their background, education, or circumstances. It is no respecter of persons. The only variable is your ability to assume and maintain the feeling of your wish fulfilled. As we draw near to the conclusion of tonight's discussion, I urge you to test this law in your own experience. Do not take my word for it. Apply the principle I have outlined and judge by results. Start with something that matters to you, but does not evoke anxiety or doubt when you contemplate its fulfillment. As you gain confidence in the process, you can apply it to more significant areas of your life. Remember always that your consciousness is the one and only reality. Every state exists now in the depths of your being. When you assume a state, you are not creating it. You are selecting it from the infinite variety of states that constitute your complete self. And by dwelling in that state, by making it real through feeling, you bring it into expression. This is the meaning of the scriptural promise. All things whatsoever ye pray and ask for, believe that ye have received them, and ye shall have them. To believe you have received your desires, to assume the feeling of its fulfillment before its visible manifestation. This is the secret of effective prayer. Let me give you a technique to practice as you leave here tonight. Select one desire that you wish to realize. Formulate a scene which, if true, would imply the fulfillment of that desire. Perhaps it is a conversation with a friend in which they congratulate you on your good fortune. Perhaps it is the sight of a document that would confirm your achievement. Whatever it may be, make it as specific and as natural as possible. Then, tonight as you prepare for sleep, quiet your mind and body. Relax completely. Close your eyes and enact your imaginal scene. See it clearly, hear the sounds associated with it, feel the emotions that would be yours if it were actually happening. Do this until your scene takes on the feeling of reality. Then, with the feeling of fulfillment still present, drift off to sleep. Do this for several consecutive nights and watch for signs of its manifestation in your outer world. Remember that there may be a gestation period during which the seed you have planted grows beneath the surface. Do not disturb it with doubt or impatience. Water it with continued assumption until it breaks through into visible expression. In this way, you are building yourself quietly. You are using the creative power of consciousness to reshape your world from within. There is no force in the universe that can stop the manifestation of what you have planted in consciousness with feeling and faith. Let me close with these words. You are divine. You are the operant power in your world. All that you perceive outside yourself is nothing more than your consciousness objectified. Know this, apply this, live by this, and you will transform not only your own life, but the lives of all who come into contact with you. Go now in peace, but go with the awareness that you carry within you the power that creates and sustains the universe. Use it wisely, use it lovingly, and use it with the certainty that what you assume must objectify itself in your experience. This is law, and the law is sure. Build yourself quietly in the sacred temple of your imagination, for there and only there can true transformation take place. And as you transform yourself within, your outer world must correspond to that transformation. This is the promise and the proof of the law of assumption. And now, I have shared with you the principle by which I live. I have given you the key that can unlock any door in the mansion of your dreams. It is up to you to take this key and use it. For although I can explain the law, only you can apply it to your life. Remember that the time to act is now, not tomorrow, not when circumstances seem more favorable, but now in the quiet of your own mind. For the kingdom of heaven is within you, and the kingdom of heaven is the realm of imagination where all creation begins. If you have built castles in the air, your work need not be lost. That is where they should be. Now put the foundations under them. And the foundation is the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Feel now the reality of what you desire. And that feeling will build a bridge of incidents that will lead inevitably to the objectification of your assumption. Go now and build yourself quietly. Go with the confidence that what you have heard tonight is not theory but law, immutable, unchangeable law. And go with the awareness that you are more than you appear to be, that your imagination is the very workshop of God, and that through its proper use you can transform your life into a living testament to the creative power of consciousness. I leave you with this thought. What would you do? Who would you be if you knew you could not fail? Answer this question not with words, but with the feeling of your wish fulfilled. For in that feeling lies the seed of all creation. And the seed, once planted in the fertile soil of consciousness and watered with the feeling of reality, must grow into manifestation. This is the law, and the law is sure. Build yourself quietly and watch as the universe reshapes itself to accommodate the new you that you have created in the silence of your imagination. For what is imagined with feeling must become fact. This is not faith, it is law. And the law works with mathematical precision for all who apply it correctly. You are the operant power in your world. You are the God of your universe. Know this, apply this, let you will be as the master promised, the heir of all things, the true Son of God, co-creator with the Divine. For imagination is God in action, and through its conscious use you participate in the creative process by which all things come into being. Build yourself quietly and you build yourself surely. For the foundation of all creation is consciousness. And what you assume as true in consciousness must objectify itself in your world. This is the eternal promise, the everlasting covenant between God and man. And God and man are one, for God is your own wonderful human imagination. When I speak of focusing on you, I am not speaking of the outer personality that the world recognizes. No, I speak of the true self, that divine imaginative center which is God in action. I am is the name of God, and when you declare I am, you are invoking the creative power of the universe. So when I urge you to focus on you until you win, I am directing you to the recognition of your divine nature, which is limitless in its capacity to create. Let me share with you a profound secret. The world you experience is nothing more than your consciousness objectified. Everything that surrounds you at this very moment, your circumstances, your relationships, your physical environment, all of it has been projected from within you. Nothing comes from without. All proceeds from within. Therefore, to change your world, you must first change your conception of yourself. This is the essence of what it means to focus on you. Most people live their entire lives never recognizing this fundamental truth. They attribute their successes and failures to external causes, to other people, to economic conditions, to chance, to anything and everything but themselves. They fail to realize that they are the architects of their own destiny, that their imagination is the magic wand of creation. But you, having heard this message tonight, can no longer claim ignorance of this law. You now stand at the threshold of a new understanding, a new way of being in the world. Consider for a moment how you have been focusing until now. Have you been concentrating on what you lack, on your limitations, on the obstacles that appear to stand in your way? If so, you have been perpetuating these very conditions in your life. For whatever dominates your mental focus will inevitably manifest in your experience. This is not a punishment, but simply the impersonal working of law. Like attracts like, and your consciousness attracts its own. To focus on you until you win means to persistently hold in your imagination the ideal conception of yourself. Not as you appear to be now, but as you desire to be. It means to dwell mentally in the end, in the fulfilled state of your desire, feeling the naturalness of it, the reality of it, until this state displaces your former conception and becomes your dominant feeling. Let me illustrate this principle with a simple exercise. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine yourself as having already attained your heart's desire. Whatever it may be, perfect health, financial abundance, a loving relationship, professional success. See yourself now in possession of it. Feel the satisfaction, the joy, the gratitude that would be yours if this desire were already fulfilled. Make this scene as vivid and as real as possible. Involve all your senses. If a beautiful home you desire, feel yourself moving through its rooms, touching its surfaces, hearing the sounds within it. If it's perfect health, feel the vitality coursing through your body, the ease of movement, the absence of pain. Now the secret is to persist in this feeling, this consciousness of fulfillment, regardless of any contradictory evidence presented by your senses. For your senses can only report the effects of past beliefs. They cannot detect the invisible causes now at work through your changed consciousness. This is why Scripture tells us, judge not according to appearances, but judge righteous judgment. To judge righteously means to be faithful to your assumption, to your new conception of yourself, despite what present facts may suggest. This is the true meaning of faith, not a blind belief in some external power, but an unwavering loyalty to your own divine imagination. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Your imagination gives substance to your hopes by clothing them in the reality of feeling. And when you feel the reality of your desire fulfilled, you have the evidence, though it remains as yet unseen by mortal eyes. The great mistake made by so many is that they focus on the processes, the channels through which their good might come, rather than on the state of consciousness they wish to attain. They ask how when they should be declaring what. The how is not your concern. It belongs to that infinite intelligence which knows all and can accomplish all. Your task is simply to determine the what, the state of consciousness you wish to occupy, and then to occupy it faithfully in your imagination. People often ask me, but Neville, how long must I persist? How will I know when my assumption has been accepted by my subconscious? And I tell them this. The feeling of naturalness is the criterion. When your desired state feels more natural to you than your former state, when you can dwell in it without effort or strain, when it no longer seems like a wish but simply the way things are, then you may know that your assumption has been impressed upon the subconscious and must inevitably objectify itself in your world. Remember, the time it takes for your assumption to become an objective fact depends on the naturalness of your feeling and the intensity of your concentration. Some desires manifest instantly, while others require a period of gestation. But do not be concerned with time. Time is merely a perception in the world of effects. It has no reality in the world of causes, which is the world of your consciousness. 1,000 years in thy sight are but as yesterday when it is past, and as a watch in the night. To focus on you until you win means to be persistent in your assumption. It means to live mentally in your desired state day after day, night after night, until the feeling of wish fulfilled becomes your predominant mood. This is not a matter of willpower or struggle. It is a matter of attention and feeling. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. And what you energize with feeling must become concrete reality. Consider the biblical story of Jacob wrestling with the angel. I will not let thee go, except thou bless me, declared Jacob. This is the attitude you must adopt toward your assumption. You must cling to it tenaciously, refusing to relinquish it until it blesses you with its manifestation. This is not stubborn defiance of present facts, but rather faithful adherence to a higher reality, the reality of your imagination. Now let me clarify something of great importance. When I speak of focusing on you, I am not advocating selfishness in the ordinary sense. The you of which I speak is not the personal ego with its petty desires and vanities. It is the divine self, which is one with all of humanity. And when you elevate your consciousness, when you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you elevate all of humanity with you. For we are all connected, we are all one in consciousness. I am in my Father, and ye in me, and I in you. The greatest service you can render to others is to assume the feeling of your own fulfilled desires. For in doing so, you contribute to the fulfillment of the divine plan, which is the awakening of God in man. You cannot truly help another while you yourself remain in a state of lack or limitation. Only by first attaining your own fulfillment can you become a true channel for the fulfillment of others. I recall a lady who attended my lecture some years ago. She was deeply concerned about her son, who had fallen into bad company and was engaging in destructive behaviors. She had tried everything to reform him, reasoning, pleading, threatening, all to no avail. I instructed her to cease her efforts to change her son's outer conduct and instead to change her conception of him. I told her to imagine just before falling asleep at night that her son was telling her of his happiness, his well-being, his constructive activities. She was to hear his voice clearly, feel the joy of this conversation, and then fall asleep in this happy state. She followed this instruction faithfully for several weeks. At first, nothing seemed to change. Her son continued in his old ways, perhaps even becoming temporarily worse. But she persisted in her assumption, refusing to be discouraged by appearances. And then one day, without any direct intervention on her part, her son announced that he was breaking ties with his former associates and had secured employment in another city. Within a month, he had completely transformed his life, exactly as his mother had imagined. You see, she had focused on herself, on her own consciousness, until she won. She did not try to manipulate her son or force him to change. She simply changed herself, changed her conception, and her outer world conformed to this inner change. This is the law, and it never fails. Let me now address a question that often arises: what of obstacles? What of opposition? What are the apparent failures that we sometimes experience despite our best efforts at constructive imagination? My answer is this: there are no obstacles, no opposition, no failures except those that exist in your own consciousness. I, even I, am he that blotted out thy transgressions for mine own sake. All apparent obstacles are opportunities for you to prove the power of your imagination, to demonstrate your faith in the reality of your assumption. When confronted with an apparent obstacle, do not fight it or try to overcome it by physical means. Instead, revise the event mentally. See it not as an obstacle, but as an aid to the fulfillment of your desire. And then continue in your assumption as if the obstacle had never existed. Remember, all things work together for good to them that love God. And to love God is to dwell faithfully in your assumption of the fulfilled wish. I recall a gentleman who was seeking a promotion in his company, a promotion that seemed impossible because there were several others with seniority who were in line before him. Instead of competing with these others or trying to impress his superiors, he simply assumed that the promotion was his. Night after night, he fell asleep feeling the satisfaction of occupying the new position. He imagined congratulatory handshakes, the increased income, the new responsibilities, all as vivid realities in his consciousness. Within a month, an entirely unforeseen reorganization of the company took place. Two of the men ahead of him were transferred to different departments. Another resigned to accept a position elsewhere, and the fourth was promoted to an even higher position than the one our friend desired. And so, without any manipulation on his part, without any outer effort, he found himself promoted to the very position he had been imagining. The seemingly impossible had become the actual through the persistent focus of his imagination. To focus on you until you win means to be faithful to your assumption regardless of all contradictory evidence. It means to live in the awareness that your consciousness is the one and only reality, that all else is derived from it. It means to know with absolute conviction that the world must conform to your assumption, for your assumption is God in action, and the word of God will not return unto him void. Many fail in this art of assumption because they do not fully understand the nature of consciousness. They think of consciousness as something apart from reality, as a subjective state having no relation to the objective world. But I tell you that consciousness is the only reality. It is first cause, the hidden source of all. Objective reality is just a shadow, an external reflection of an internal state. To focus on you until you win means to focus on consciousness, on the being that you truly are. It means to recognize that you are not a body or a mind, but pure awareness, pure I amness. And this I am can assume any state whatsoever. I am the door. Through this door of assumption, you may enter any conceptual world you desire. Consider this right now. In this very moment, you can declare I am successful or I am a failure, and either statement, if persisted in, will objectify itself in your experience. The choice is always yours. You are free to assume any state, and having assumed it, to watch it unfold in the world of effects. This is the creative power that is yours by divine right, the power that was yours before the world was. But remember, this power operates through feeling, not through intellectual concepts alone. It is not enough to say the words "I am wealthy" or "I am healthy" if these words are contradicted by your feeling. Your feeling is your faith, and according to your faith is it done unto you. Therefore, you must feel the reality of your assumption until this feeling displaces all contrary evidence. Many years ago, a young woman came to me in great distress. She was deeply in debt. Her health was failing, and her personal relationships were in shambles. She felt herself to be a victim of circumstances buffeted by forces beyond her control. I told her that her only problem was her own self-concept, her own persistent focus on limitation and lack. I instructed her to construct a simple scene that would imply the fulfillment of all her desires. A scene in which a friend was congratulating her on her wonderful life, her perfect health, her abundance, her loving relationships. She was to replay this scene in her imagination every night just before sleep, feeling its reality, accepting it as a fact already accomplished. She was skeptical at first, but desperate enough to try anything. And so she began this practice tentatively at first, then with growing conviction as she began to experience a sense of relief and sense of mental exercise. Within 3 months, her entire life had transformed. A relative she barely knew had died, leaving her a substantial inheritance. Her health had improved dramatically for no apparent medical reason, and her personal relationships had harmonized without any direct effort on her part. The outer circumstances of her life had rearranged themselves to reflect her changed consciousness. She had focused on herself, on her consciousness, until she won. Now let me address a common misunderstanding. Many people believe that to focus on oneself is somehow spiritually incorrect, that it represents a form of selfishness or egocentricity. Nothing could be further from the truth. To focus on your true self is the highest spiritual practice, for your true self is God. The kingdom of God is within you. By entering this kingdom, the kingdom of your own consciousness, and establishing there the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are literally entering the kingdom of heaven. Scripture tells us, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you." The kingdom is your consciousness, and righteousness is the feeling of already being what you desire to be. Seek this feeling first, establish it, maintain it, live in it, and all outer things must come to you by law. I want you to understand the immense power that is yours. There is no limit to what you can achieve through the proper use of your imagination. But you must be willing to disentangle yourself from appearances, to disregard the evidence of your senses when it contradicts your assumption. This requires mental discipline. Yes, but it is a discipline that leads to freedom, not bondage. Each day, set aside some time to focus on you, on the consciousness of your wish fulfilled. Make it a sacred practice, as important as eating or sleeping. Enter your room, close the door, and commune with your Father in secret. Your Father is your own wonderful human imagination, and he responds to your assumption by objectifying it in your world. And thy Father which sitteth in secret shall reward thee openly. Do not be discouraged if results are not immediately apparent. Remember that there is often a gestation period between the conception of a desiring consciousness and its birth in the world of form. The seed has been planted. Now allow it time to grow. Water it daily with a feeling of fulfillment, protect it from the weeds of doubt and disbelief, and it must come to harvest in its appointed hour. I am often asked, but what if my desire affects other people? Can I use my imagination to influence another's behavior? And I answer, you are not influencing others, you are creating others by your conception of them. Everyone in your world is yourself pushed out. They reflect back to you your own states of consciousness. Therefore, to change others, change yourself, change your conception of them, and they must change to reflect this new conception. Scripture tells us, no man can come to me, except the Father which hath sent me draw him. The Father is your I am, your consciousness, and no one can come into your world. No situation can confront you that is not drawn by your conception. You are perpetually attracting conditions that correspond to your dominant mental states. Change these states, and you change your world. Perhaps the most common obstacle to successful manifestation is the tendency to dwell on means rather than ends. People become so concerned with how their desires will be fulfilled that they lose sight of the desired end itself. But the law operates on ends, not on means. Your business is with the end only, the feeling of fulfillment, and infinite intelligence will provide the means. Consider the biblical injunction, take no thought for your life, what ye shall eat, or what ye shall drink, nor yet for your body, what ye shall put on. This is not advocating irresponsibility, but rather a shift in focus from means to ends. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and the means of fulfillment will be attracted by that assumption through channels you cannot now conceive. When you focus on you until you win, you are focusing on the creative center of your being. You are aligning yourself with the source of all power. And from this center, all things are possible. All things whatsoever ye shall ask in prayer, believing ye shall receive. Prayer is not begging or pleading, but the feeling of already having what you desire. It is communion with your deeper self, with the God within. I know from experience that this law works. I have tested it countless times in my own life and have witnessed its operation in the lives of thousands who have applied it. It is as exact as mathematics, as certain as sunrise. It never fails when properly applied. If there appears to be failure, it is only because the law has not been properly understood or faithfully practiced. Let me give you a specific technique that I have found particularly effective. I call it sleeping in the assumption. Just before you fall asleep at night, construct a brief scene that would imply the fulfillment of your desire. Make this scene as concrete and as specific as possible. Then enter into it mentally, participating fully, involving all your senses. Feel the reality of it, the naturalness of it. And then, still dwelling in this scene, allow yourself to drift off to sleep. In this drowsy, receptive state, your subconscious mind is most amenable to suggestion. The seed of your assumption planted in these fertile moments will grow and flourish beneath the threshold of consciousness, eventually emerging as objective fact. This is why Scripture tells us he giveth unto his beloved in sleep. Sleep in this context is not just physical slumber, but the complete surrender of consciousness to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. A word of caution here. Do not discuss your inner work with others, especially those of negative or skeptical temperament. Keep your own counsel. Cast not your pearls before swine, as the Bible advises. The precious pearl of your assumption, still in its formative stage, can be damaged or destroyed by the doubt and disbelief of others. Wait until your manifestation is complete before sharing it with the world. Now, some of you may be thinking this all sounds well and good, but what of morality? What if my desires are selfish or harmful to others? Let me address this concern directly. The law itself is neither moral nor immoral. It is simply the way creation occurs. However, there is a built-in safeguard that prevents truly harmful desires from manifesting. The fact that you must live in the consciousness of your assumption. If your desire is genuinely harmful to others, you cannot truly feel the peace, the joy, the fulfillment that accompanies the consciousness of a worthy desire. You will feel conflict, discomfort, guilt. And these contradictory feelings will prevent the clear impression of your desire upon the subconscious. Therefore, the desire cannot manifest in its entirety, or if it does, will bring with it conditions that nullify its enjoyment. The solution is not to suppress your desires, but to elevate them, to align them with your higher nature. As you grow in spiritual understanding, you will naturally desire those things that contribute to the welfare of all, for you will recognize that all are one with you. Love thy neighbor as thyself becomes not just a moral injunction, but a recognition of metaphysical fact. To focus on you until you win is to focus on the God within you. the only power that can truly fulfill your desires. It is to recognize that I and my Father are one, that the creative power of the universe is not separate from you, but is your very essence. When you pray, therefore, do not pray to an external God, but to your Father who is in secret, your own wonderful human imagination. I want you to leave here tonight with a new understanding of your creative power, a new recognition of your divine nature. I want you to know beyond all doubt that you can be and have and do whatever you can conceive and believe. The only limits to your manifestations are those you accept in consciousness. According to your faith is it done unto you. Begin tonight to focus on you, on the consciousness of your wish fulfilled, and persist in this focus until your desire becomes objective fact. Do not waver, do not doubt, do not be discouraged by appearances. Remember that manifestation has its own appointed hour, and your task is simply to remain faithful to your assumption until that hour strikes. In your daily life, whenever negative thoughts or contradictory circumstances arise, do not fight them or try to change them directly. Instead, return to your assumption, to the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Dwell there, abide there, live mentally, until the outer conforms to the inner. This is what Jesus meant when he said, "In the world ye shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world." The I that has overcome the world is your own I am, properly directed in assumptive faith. There is an ancient mystical axiom that states, as above, so below, as within, so without. Your inner world of consciousness is the above. The cause, your outer world of experience, is the below, the effect. Whatever you establish in consciousness must objectify itself in your world. This is the law, and it cannot be broken or set aside. Therefore, guard well your assumptions, for they are the seeds of your future experiences. Remember also that you are always assuming something. Every moment of your waking life, you are entertaining some concept of yourself and your world. Most of these concepts are habitual, unconscious, based on past experiences and conditioned beliefs. But you have the power to choose your assumptions consciously, to decide deliberately what you will accept as true. And in this choice lies your freedom. To focus on you until you win is to exercise this freedom of assumption. It is to select consciously the state of consciousness you wish to occupy, and then to occupy it faithfully, regardless of any contradiction presented by the senses. It is to know that consciousness is the only reality, and that the world of form is but its obedient servant. I invite you to test this principle in your own life. Start with something simple, something you can accept without too much strain. Assume the feeling of its fulfillment, dwell in that feeling, fall asleep in that feeling. Watch how your outer world rearranges itself to match your inner conviction. Then, as your faith grows through experience, apply this same principle to greater and greater desires. Remember that you are not trying to make something happen by force of will or physical effort. You are simply establishing a new state of consciousness, a new concept of yourself, and allowing the law to operate on its own. Not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord of hosts. The Spirit is your consciousness, your I am, and it accomplishes all through the law of assumption. I want to share with you one final thought, a thought that encapsulates the essence of what I have been saying tonight. It is this: you are not a helpless bit of flotsam tossed about by the waves of circumstance. You are the operant power, the prime mover of your universe. Your consciousness is God in action, and it shapes all that you experience. Therefore, focus on you, on the consciousness of your wish fulfilled, until you win. Make this your daily practice, your moment-by-moment awareness. Live mentally in the end, in the consciousness of the desire already fulfilled, and watch in joy and gratitude as the outer circumstances of your life reshape themselves to reflect this inner change. For this is the promise: behold, I make all things new. And the I that makes all things new is your own wonderful human imagination, your own I am, properly focused in the consciousness of the wish fulfilled. Focus on you until you win, and you cannot fail, for the law is certain and its operation exact. Remember these words from Scripture: be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Your mind is your consciousness, and it is renewed when you shift from the consciousness of lack to the consciousness of fulfillment. From the consciousness of limitation to the consciousness of boundless possibility. Begin now this very night to focus on you, on your consciousness, on your I am, and imbue it with the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Persist in this focus day after day, night after night, until your desire becomes objective fact. For it must do so by law. And when it does, you will know from experience the truth of that ancient promise. All things are possible to him that believeth. Believe in the reality of your assumption, trust in the law that brings it to pass, and rest in the certainty of its fulfillment. This is what it means to focus on you. This is the great secret revealed to those who have ears to hear and eyes to see. Apply it faithfully, and your life will become a testament to its truth and power. I leave you now with these words. You are divine beings, sons and daughters of the Most High. The creative power of the universe resides within you, waiting to be directed by your assumption. Direct it wisely, focus it consistently on the consciousness of your wish fulfilled. And watch in wonders your world transforms to reflect your transformed consciousness. For such is the law, and such is the promise to all who understand and apply it. Focus on you until you win. Focus on the consciousness of the wish fulfilled until it externalizes itself in your world. This is the royal road to fulfillment, the direct path to the realization of your heart's desire. Walk this path with confidence, with faith, with persistence, and all that you seek shall be added unto you. This is the promise. This is the law. This is the truth that sets you free.
Imagine yourself seated in a grand auditorium, the air thick with anticipation. The lights dim, and a spotlight illuminates the stage. I, Neville Goddard, step forward to address you on a matter of utmost importance. The willingness to give up your present limitations. As I gaze upon your eager faces, I see the infinite potential that resides within each of you. Yet I also perceive the invisible chains of limitation that bind you to your current circumstances. These chains, my dear listeners, are not forged by any external force, but by the very thoughts and beliefs you hold within your minds. Tonight, we shall embark on a journey of transformation. We will explore the vast landscape of your imagination and unlock the power that lies dormant within you. For it is only when you are willing to give up your present limitations that you can truly step into the life you desire and deserve. Let us begin by understanding the nature of your limitations. These are not physical barriers or insurmountable obstacles. No, they are merely thoughts, ideas that you have accepted as truth. But I say to you, with unwavering certainty, that these limitations are as flimsy as a house of cards, ready to collapse at the slightest breath of your newfound awareness. Consider for a moment the things you believe to be impossible in your life. Perhaps you think you cannot achieve great wealth, or find true love, or attain perfect health. These beliefs, my friends, are the very limitations that keep you tethered to a life that is less than what you are capable of living. But I ask you, who decided these things were impossible? Who declared that you must live within these confines? The answer, though it may be difficult to accept, is you. You have accepted these limitations as your reality, and in doing so, you have given them power over your life. Now, I can hear the protest rising within you. But Neville, you might say, these limitations are based on my past experiences, on the hard facts of my life. To this, I respond with a truth that may shake the very foundations of your understanding. Your past does not determine your future unless you allow it to do so. You see, my dear listeners, time is not a linear progression from past to future. It is a vast sea of possibilities, and you are the navigator of your ship. At any moment, you have the power to change course, to set sail for new horizons that you previously believed were beyond your reach. This power lies in your imagination, the most magnificent gift bestowed upon humanity. Your imagination is the workshop wherein you can fashion any reality you desire. It is the canvas upon which you can paint the masterpiece of your life. And it is through the conscious use of your imagination that you can begin to dissolve the limitations that have held you captive. Let me share with you a fundamental principle that underpins all of creance. Consciousness is the only reality
Everything you perceive in your outer world is but a reflection of your inner states of consciousness. The circumstances of your life, the successes and failures you experience, are all projections of your beliefs and assumptions. Therefore, to change your life, you must be willing to change your consciousness. You must be prepared to give up the limiting beliefs that have shaped your current reality. This, my friends, is where true courage is required, for it is far easier to cling to the familiar, even if it is unsatisfactory, than to venture into the unknown realms of possibility. But I implore you, summon the courage to challenge your limitations. Dare to imagine a life beyond the boundaries you have accepted. For in that daring lies the seed of your transformation. Consider the great figures of history who achieved the seemingly impossible. The Wright brothers, who dared to believe man could fly. Edison, who illuminated the world with his persistence. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who dreamed of equality in the face of overwhelming opposition. These individuals did not accept the limitations of their time. They dared to imagine a different reality. And through the power of their imagination, they brought that reality into being. You, my dear listeners, possess the same power. The only difference between you and these great figures is that they refused to accept the limitations imposed upon them by society or their own doubts. They were willing to give up their present limitations, and in doing so, they changed the course of history. Now, you might be wondering, how do I begin this process of giving up my limitations? The answer lies in a practice I have long advocated, the art of revision. This powerful technique allows you to rewrite your past and consequently reshape your future. Imagine for a moment that your life is a play, and you are both the lead actor and the playwright. The scenes you have lived up to this point have been scripted by your past beliefs and assumptions. But now, armed with the knowledge of your true creative power, you can rewrite these scenes. Each night, as you lay your head upon your pillow, take a few moments to review the events of your day. But do not simply replay them as they occurred. Instead, revise them. See them unfolding in a way that aligns with your desires. If you encountered failure, reimagine it as success. If you experienced lack, visualize abundance. If you felt fear, replace it with courage. This practice of revision is not mere fantasy or escapism. It is a powerful tool for reprogramming your subconscious mind. For your subconscious does not distinguish between what you vividly imagine and what you actually experience in the physical world. By consistently revising your day, you are laying down new tracks in your subconscious, creating new patterns of thought and belief. As you persist in this practice, you will find that your outer world begins to conform to your revised inner world. The limitations you once accepted as immutable facts will begin to dissolve, replaced by new possibilities and opportunities. But revision is just the beginning. To truly give up your present limitations, you must be willing to live from the end. This means assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled, even when your senses deny its reality. Suppose you desire financial abundance, but your current circumstances show only lack and struggle. The conventional approach would be to work harder, to strive and strain against your circumstances. But I say to you, this approach only reinforces your limitations. Instead, I urge you to assume the feeling of wealth and abundance now. How would you feel if you were already in possession of the financial security you desire? What thoughts would occupy your mind? How would you carry yourself? What decisions would you make? Live from this state of consciousness. Feel the relief, the joy, the sense of freedom that comes with financial abundance. Do this not once or twice, but consistently, persistently, until it becomes your dominant state of being. You see, my friends, the outer world must conform to your inner assumptions. This is law. Therefore, by assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are setting in motion the forces that will bring your desire into physical manifestation. Now, I can hear the skeptics among you raising objections. But Neville, you might say, how can I feel wealthy when my bank account is empty? How can I feel healthy when my body is racked with pain? How can I feel loved when I am alone? Your senses show you only the effects, never the cause. What you see in your outer world is the result of past thoughts and beliefs. But the power to change lies in the present moment, in your ability to choose a new state of consciousness regardless of external circumstances. This requires faith. Not blind faith in an external power, but faith in the creative power of your own imagination. It requires the courage to deny the evidence of your senses and to live as though your desire were already a fact. Remember, the Bible tells us faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Your faith, your unwavering belief in the reality of your imagined state, is the very substance that will clothe your desire in physical form. Let me share with you a personal experience that illustrates this principle. Many years ago, I found myself in New York City, penniless and without prospects. The limitations of my circumstances seemed overwhelming, but I refused to accept them as final. Instead, I began to imagine myself as a successful lecturer, sharing these very principles with eager audiences. I felt the satisfaction of standing on stage, hearing the applause, sensing the impact of my words. I lived in this imaginal state consistently, denying the evidence of my senses that told me I was a failure. And do you know what happened? Within a short time, opportunities began to present themselves. I was invited to give lectures, first to small groups, then to larger audiences. My reputation grew, and soon I found myself traveling the country, sharing these truths with thousands. This transformation did not occur because I struggled against my circumstances or because I was particularly gifted. It happened because I was willing to give up my present limitations. I dared to imagine a different reality and to live from that imagination. You, my dear listeners, can do the same. Whatever limitations you currently face, be they financial, physical, emotional, or spiritual, you have the power to transcend them. But you must be willing to give them up. You must be courageous enough to imagine and feel a new reality, even when every outer circumstance seems to contradict it. Now, let us delve deeper into the mechanics of this transformative process. To give up your present limitations, you must first become aware of them. This awareness is not about dwelling on your problems or reinforcing your current state. Rather, it's about recognizing the thoughts and beliefs that have created your present circumstances. Take a moment now to reflect on the areas of your life where you feel limited. Perhaps you believe you're not intelligent enough to pursue higher education. Maybe you think you're too old to start a new career. Or perhaps you've convinced yourself that you're not attractive enough to find a loving partner. These beliefs, my friends, are not facts. They are assumptions you have accepted as truth. But just as you have accepted them, you have the power to reject them and replace them with new, empowering beliefs. The process begins with a simple yet profound shift in your thinking. Instead of saying, I can't, start saying, I am. Instead of focusing on what you lack, direct your attention to what you desire to be, do, or have. For instance, if you've been telling yourself, I can't afford that, replace it with, I am abundantly prosperous. If you've been thinking, I'm not smart enough, change it to, I am intelligent and capable. If you've believed, I'm too old, affirm instead, I am the perfect age to begin anew. These new statements may feel false at first. Your rational mind, conditioned by years of limiting beliefs, may rebel against them. But remember, you are not trying to convince your rational mind. You are speaking directly to your subconscious, which accepts as true whatever you impress upon it with feeling and persistence. This is where the power of your imagination comes into play. As you make these new statements, create vivid mental images that support them. See yourself living the life these statements imply. Feel the emotions associated with this new state of being. If you're affirming abundance, see yourself easily paying your bills, generously donating to causes you care about, enjoying luxurious vacations. Feel the relief, the joy, the sense of security that comes with financial freedom. If you're claiming intelligence and capability, imagine yourself confidently tackling challenging tasks, receiving accolades for your work, sharing your knowledge with others. Feel the satisfaction, the pride, the excitement of fully expressing your intellectual potential. If you're asserting that you're the perfect age for new beginnings, visualize yourself embarking on exciting new ventures. learning new skills with ease, inspiring others with your enthusiasm and vitality. Feel the energy, the optimism, the sense of unlimited possibility that comes with this mindset. The key here is to make these mental images as vivid and as emotionally charged as possible. Your subconscious mind responds to the language of feeling and imagery. The more real you can make these imaginal scenes, the more quickly they will be accepted by your subconscious and reflected in your outer world. I must caution you, this process requires persistence. You cannot expect to overturn years of limiting beliefs with a single affirmation or visualization. Just as a farmer must tend his crops daily, you must nurture your new beliefs consistently. Make it a daily practice to affirm your new state of being. Spend time each day in quiet contemplation, immersing yourself in the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Do this upon waking and before sleeping, when your subconscious mind is most receptive. As you persist in this practice, you will begin to notice subtle shifts in your outer world. Opportunities that align with your new state of consciousness will start to appear. You'll find yourself making decisions and taking actions that support your desired reality. When faced with these new opportunities, they retreat into their old patterns of thought and behavior. They allow their present limitations to resurface, sabotaging their progress. This is why I emphasize the need to be willing to give up your present limitations. It's not enough to imagine a new reality. You must be prepared to step into it when it begins to manifest. If you've been affirming financial abundance and suddenly an opportunity for increased income presents itself, you must be willing to embrace it, even if it challenges your comfort zone. If you've been claiming intelligence and capability and find yourself offered a chance to demonstrate these qualities, you must be ready to rise to the occasion, even if it feels daunting. Remember, your outer world is always reflecting your inner state. If you maintain your new state of consciousness, your outer world must conform to it. This is law. But if you allow yourself to be pulled back into old patterns of thought and behavior, you will perpetuate your present limitations. This is where faith becomes crucial. Not blind faith, but faith born of understanding. Understanding that your imagination creates reality, that your assumptions shape your world, that consciousness is the only reality. When doubt creeps in, as it inevitably will, remind yourself of this truth. Recall times in your life when your imagination has created your reality, even if in small ways. Perhaps you strongly imagined receiving a call from a friend and they called. Maybe you visualized finding the perfect parking spot in a crowded lot, and there it was. These seemingly small manifestations operate on the same principle as the greater changes you now seek to create. Moreover, look to the great achievements of humanity for inspiration. Every invention, every scientific breakthrough, every social change began as an idea, an imaginal act that defied the limitations of its time. The airplane, the telephone, the computer, all of these were once deemed impossible. Yet individuals dared to imagine them, to assume their reality, and in doing so brought them into being. You, my dear listeners, are no different from these visionaries. You possess the same creative power. The only difference lies in your willingness to use it, to dare to imagine beyond your present limitations. Now, let us address a common obstacle that many face on this journey of transformation: the opinions and influences of others. As you begin to give up your present limitations, you may encounter resistance from those around you. Friends, family, colleagues may attempt to pull you back into your old patterns of thought and behavior. This is natural. People become accustomed to seeing you in a certain way, and your transformation may challenge their own limiting beliefs. But remember that opinions are based on your past expression, not on your infinite potential. You must be willing to stand firm in your new consciousness, even in the face of opposition or disbelief from others. This doesn't mean you need to argue or try to convince anyone of your new reality. In fact, it's often best to keep your inner work private, at least in the beginning stages. Instead, maintain your new state internally, regardless of external circumstances or opinions. Continue to live from the end, feeling and acting as though your desire is already fulfilled. As you do this, you will find that the outer world, including the people in it, will gradually adjust to your new vibration. Remember the words attributed to Mahatma Gandhi. Be the change you wish to see in the world. As you change your inner world, your outer world must follow suit. Now, let's explore another vital aspect of giving up your present limitations. The release of attachment to specific outcomes. This may seem counterintuitive at first. After all, aren't we focusing on manifesting specific desires? The key here is to understand the difference between the essence of your desire and its particular form. When you tap into the essence of what you truly want, be it love, abundance, health, or success, you open yourself to infinite possibilities for its manifestation. For instance, if you desire financial abundance, don't become fixated on winning the lottery or receiving a specific sum of money from a particular source. Instead, focus on the feeling of abundance, the sense of security and freedom that comes with financial well-being. By doing so, you allow the universe to bring your desire to you in ways that may far exceed your limited imagination. Similarly, if you desire a loving relationship, don't become attached to a specific person or a particular scenario. Focus instead on the feeling of being loved, cherished, and in a fulfilling partnership. This opens the door for love to enter your life in perhaps unexpected but perfectly aligned ways. This release of attachment also helps to dissolve the anxiety and desperation that often accompany strong desires. When you trust in the perfect unfolding of your imagination, when you know that what you have assumed as true must manifest, you can relax into the present moment, enjoying the journey of transformation. As you practice living from the end, assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you may notice an interesting phenomenon. Your desires themselves begin to evolve. As you give up your present limitations, you may find that what once seemed like an ultimate goal now appears as just a stepping stone to even greater possibilities. This is the nature of spiritual and personal growth. As you expand your consciousness, as you release the shackles of limitation, you open yourself to ever greater expressions of your infinite potential. Therefore, be willing to let your desires evolve. Don't cling to old goals out of habit or fear. As you give up your present limitations, allow yourself to dream bigger, to imagine grander possibilities for your life and for the world. Now, my dear friends, as we approach the final stretch of our discourse, I want to address a question that may be arising in your minds. What if I fail? What if I try to give up my limitations and nothing changes? Failure is impossible if you truly understand and apply these principles. What may appear as failure is often just a temporary misalignment between your inner and outer worlds. It's a signal to examine your consciousness more closely, to root out any lingering doubts or contradictory beliefs. If you find that your outer world is not changing as rapidly as you'd like, don't despair. Instead, use this as an opportunity to deepen your practice. Ask yourself, am I truly living from the end? Am I maintaining the feeling of my wish fulfilled consistently? Am I allowing contradictory thoughts and feelings to persist? Often what seems like failure is simply a call to greater faithfulness to your imaginal act. It's an invitation to strengthen your resolve, to deepen your understanding, to persist in the face of apparent opposition. Remember, the outer world may take time to reflect your inner changes. Just as a ship doesn't turn on a dime, your life circumstances may not transform overnight. But if you maintain your new state of consciousness, if you persist in living from the end, your outer world must eventually conform to your inner reality. Moreover, what appears as a setback or failure often contains within it the seeds of an even greater manifestation. Many of history's great successes came on the heels of apparent failures. The key is to maintain your faith, to hold fast to your new state of consciousness, regardless of outer appearances. As we near the conclusion of our time together, I want to leave you with a powerful exercise to help you give up your present limitations. This exercise, which I call the ladder of ascension, will help you systematically release your limiting beliefs and ascend to higher states of consciousness. Imagine before you were grand, golden ladder reaching up into the heavens. Each rung of this ladder represents a state of consciousness, a level of being. The lower rungs represent states of limitation, lack, and fear. The higher rungs represent states of abundance, love, and unlimited possibility. Now see yourself standing on the rung that represents your current state of consciousness. Look up the ladder and choose a higher state that you wish to embody. This could be a state of financial abundance, radiant health, loving relationships, or any other desired state of being. Close your eyes and imagine yourself climbing the ladder, moving towards this higher state. As you ascend, feel yourself shedding your limitations. With each step, feel yourself becoming lighter, freer, more aligned with your true unlimited nature. When you reach the rung that represents your desired state, pause there. Look around you from this new vantage point. How does the world appear from here? How do you feel in this new state of being? Allow yourself to fully experience the reality of this higher consciousness. Now open your eyes, but maintain the feeling of this elevated state. As you go about your day, continually remind yourself that you are operating from this higher level of consciousness. Make decisions, interact with others, and perceive the world from this new state of being. Practice this exercise daily, always choosing a higher rung, always expanding your consciousness. As you do, you will find your present limitations falling away, replaced by an ever-expanding sense of possibility and power. My dear friends, as we come to the close of our discussion, I want to impress upon you one final truth. The journey of giving up your present limitations is not just about personal gain or individual success. It is about stepping into your true identity as a creative force in the universe. As you release your limitations, as you expand your consciousness, you become a beacon of light in the world. Your transformation inspires and uplifts those around you. Your expanded consciousness contributes to the elevation of all consciousness. Remember, we are all one. Your liberation from limitation serves not just you, but all of humanity. As you give up your present limitations, you help to dissolve the collective limitations that bind our world. Therefore, I urge us, be bold in your imagining. Be courageous in your assumption of new states of being. Be persistent in your faithfulness to your imaginal acts. For in doing so, you are not just changing your own life. You are participating in the transformation of the world. Go forth from this place with a new resolve. Know that you are not bound by any limitation unless you choose to accept it. Know that within you lies the power to create any reality you can imagine. Know that you are, in truth, unlimited being, temporarily expressing itself in human form. Dare to give up your present limitations. Dare to imagine a life beyond what you have previously thought possible. Dare to assume the feeling of your wishes fulfilled. As you do, you will find that the entire universe conspires to bring your imagined reality into being. Remember, consciousness is the only reality. You are that consciousness. You are the creator of your world. Embrace this truth, live from it, and watch as your life transforms in ways more wonderful than you could have ever imagined. Thank you, my dear friends, for your attention and your willingness to embark on this journey of transformation. May you go forth and create lives of unparalleled joy, abundance, and fulfillment. The power is yours. Use it wisely. Use it lovingly, and use it now. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know that the power to transform your mind and consequently your life lies within you. It has always been there, waiting to be awakened and harnessed. Let us begin by understanding what it means to be mentally strong. It is not merely the absence of weakness or the ability to endure hardship. No, mental strength is far more profound. It is the capacity to shape your reality through the power of your imagination and belief. It is the unwavering faith in the law that states, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is it. You see, my dear friends, the world you experience is nothing more than an outward projection of your inner state. Your thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions create the fabric of your reality. Therefore, to become mentally strong is to gain mastery over your inner world, to cultivate a mind that is aligned with your deepest desires and highest aspirations. Now you might be wondering, how do I achieve this mental strength? The answer, I assure you, is simpler than you might think. Yet it requires dedication and practice. The first step is to recognize the immense power of your imagination. Your imagination is not some frivolous faculty meant for idle daydreaming. It is the very workshop where you forge your destiny. Neville Goddard once said, man's imagination is God's redemptive power in man. This statement encapsulates a profound truth that your imagination is the key to transforming your life. When you learn to use your imagination deliberately and consistently, you tap into a power that can move mountains, part seas, and reshape your entire existence. But how does one use imagination effectively? The secret lies in what I call living in the end. This means that you must imagine and feel the reality of your desire as if it were already accomplished. You must step into the state of the wish fulfilled, embodying the thoughts, feelings, and beliefs of the person who has already achieved what you desire. Let me give you an example. Suppose you wish to become more confident and assertive. Instead of focusing on your current state of timidity or self-doubt, you would imagine yourself as the confident and assertive person you wish to be. You would feel the satisfaction, the peace, and the certainty that comes with being that person. You would walk, talk, and carry yourself as if you were already the embodiment of confidence and assertiveness. This practice of living in the end is not mere positive thinking or affirmation. It is a profound psychological and spiritual exercise that aligns your entire being with your desired state. As you persist in this practice, you will find that your outer world begins to conform to your inner vision. This is the law of assumption at work. What you assume to be true becomes true in your experience. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Neville, how can I imagine something that seems so far from my current reality? This is where mental strength truly comes into play. It requires discipline and persistence to hold on to your vision in the face of contrary evidence. It demands that you trust in the unseen reality of your imagination more than the apparent facts of your physical senses. Remember, my friends, that what you see in the world around you is nothing more than the outpicturing of past thoughts and beliefs. It is the harvest of seeds planted in the past. But at this very moment, you have the power to plant new seeds, to imagine a new reality to being. This is the essence of mental strength. The ability to hold steadfast to your vision, regardless of present circumstances. Let us delve deeper into this concept. The world you see is Maya, illusion. It is a shadow play, a reflection of your consciousness. When you truly grasp this truth, you will understand that to change your world, you need only change your consciousness. This is where the practice of revision becomes invaluable. Revision is the art of reimagining past events in a way that aligns with your desires. If you have experienced failure or disappointment, instead of dwelling on these experiences and reinforcing them in your consciousness, you can revise them. Imagine how you would have preferred the situation to unfold. Feel the joy and satisfaction of this revised scenario as if it had actually happened. This practice of revision is not about denying reality or living in fantasy. It is about understanding the fluid nature of time and memory and using this understanding to your advantage. By revising the past in your imagination, you alter the trajectory of your future. You plant new seeds in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind, seeds that will inevitably sprout and bear fruit in your experience. As you engage in these practices, living in the end and revision, you will begin to notice a shift in your mental state. You will find yourself becoming more resilient, more optimistic, more certain of your power to shape your reality. This is mental strength in action. It is the ability to maintain a positive and purposeful state of mind, regardless of external circumstances. But let me be clear, my dear friends. Mental strength is not about forcing things to happen through sheer willpower. It is not about struggling against the current of life. Rather, it is about aligning yourself with the natural flow of creation. It is about understanding and applying the laws that govern the universe. One of these fundamental laws is the law of assumption. This law states that whatever you assume to be true will be manifested in your reality. Your assumptions, whether conscious or unconscious, shape your world. Therefore, to become mentally strong, You must become aware of your assumptions and learn to consciously choose those that serve your highest good. For instance, if you assume that life is a struggle and that success is hard to come by, you will experience a reality that confirms these assumptions. On the other hand, if you assume that life is abundant and that success comes easily to you, your experience will reflect these beliefs. The key is to become aware of your assumptions and to deliberately choose those that align with your desires. This process of becoming aware of it, changing your assumptions, requires mental discipline. It demands that you become the watchman at the gate of your mind, carefully monitoring the thoughts and beliefs you allow to take root in your consciousness. This vigilance is a hallmark of mental strength. Now, you might be wondering, how do I change deeply ingrained assumptions and beliefs? The answer lies in the practice of what I call the law of reversibility. This law states that while feelings follow thoughts, thoughts also follow feelings. In other words, by deliberately inducing the feeling state associated with your desire, you can evoke thoughts and assumptions that align with that state. Let me explain this further. Suppose you want to cultivate an assumption of abundance. Instead of trying to force yourself to think abundant thoughts, you would induce the feeling of abundance. You would imagine what it feels like to be abundantly supplied in all areas of your life. As you persist in this feeling, you will find that thoughts of lack and scarcity naturally fall away, replaced by thoughts and assumptions of abundance. This practice of inducing feeling states is a powerful tool for mental strength. It allows you to bypass the resistance of your rational mind and directly influence your subconscious, where your deepest beliefs and assumptions reside. As you master this technique, you will find yourself becoming more adept at shaping your mental state at will. But remember, my friends, mental strength is not about suppressing or denying negative emotions. It is about understanding the transient nature of all emotional states and learning to navigate them skillfully. When challenging emotions arise, acknowledge them, but do not identify with them. See them as passing clouds in the vast sky of your consciousness. This ability to observe your emotions without being consumed by them is a crucial aspect of mental strength. It allows you to maintain your chosen state of consciousness even in the face of adversity. It enables you to respond to life's challenges from a place of clarity and purpose rather than reacting from a place of fear or anger. As you cultivate this observational stance, you will begin to notice the gap between stimulus and response. In this gap lies your power to choose your reaction. This is where true freedom resides. As you become more aware of this gap, you will find yourself becoming less reactive and more responsive to life's events. Now, let us discuss another vital aspect of mental strength: the power of your self-talk. The conversations you have with yourself shape your reality in profound ways. Therefore, to become mentally strong, you must become acutely aware of your inner dialogue and learn to direct it consciously. Many people unconsciously engage in negative self-talk, constantly criticizing themselves and reinforcing limiting beliefs. This negative self-talk is like a poison that corrupts your mental and emotional state. To counteract this, you must learn to speak to yourself with kindness and encouragement. But it's not enough to simply replace negative self-talk with positive affirmations. You must go deeper. You must speak to yourself from the perspective of your ideal self, the version of you that has already achieved what you desire. This is not about deceiving yourself, but about aligning your inner dialogue with your highest vision for yourself. For instance, instead of saying, "I hope I can become more confident," you would say, "I am confident and self-assured in all situations." Instead of saying, "I'll try to be more successful," you would say, "I am successful in all my endeavors." This shift in language might seem subtle, but its effects are profound. It aligns your conscious mind with your subconscious, creating a powerful synergy that propels you towards your goals. Remember, my dear friends, the words you speak to yourself are like seeds planted in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. Choose these words carefully, for they will grow and bear fruit in your experience. This conscious use of language is a hallmark of mental strength. Now let us delve into another crucial aspect of mental strength: the power of focus. Your ability to direct and sustain your attention is a key determinant of your mental state and, consequently, your life experience. In a world filled with distractions, the capacity to focus your mind is more valuable than ever. But what should you focus on? The answer is simple yet profound. Focus on what you want, not on what you don't want. This might seem obvious, but many people spend their mental energy dwelling on their problems, fears, and limitations. They focus on what's wrong in their lives rather than on what they wish to create. Remember, my friends, energy flows where attention goes. Whatever you consistently focus on will expand in your experience. Therefore, to become mentally strong, you must train your mind to dwell on your desired outcomes, on the life you wish to create, on the person you aspire to be. This doesn't mean ignoring problems or challenges when they arise. It means approaching them from a solution-oriented mindset. Instead of fixating on the problem, focus your attention on finding a solution. Ask yourself empowering questions like, how can I turn this situation to my advantage? Or what opportunity for growth does this challenge present? As you cultivate this habit of focused attention, you will find your mental strength growing. You will become less reactive to external circumstances and more proactive in shaping your reality. You will develop a sense of inner calm and certainty that allows you to navigate life's ups and downs with grace and poise. Now, let us discuss another vital aspect of mental strength: the power of persistence. The ability to persist in your chosen course of action despite obstacles and setbacks is a hallmark of a strong mind. It is easy to maintain a positive mental state when things are going well. The true test of mental strength comes when you face adversity. Persistence doesn't mean stubbornly pushing against immovable obstacles. It means maintaining your faith in your vision even when the external evidence seems to contradict it. It means holding fast to your assumption of success even when temporary failures occur. It means continuing to live in the end, to feel the reality of your desire, even when your current circumstances seem far removed from your goal. Remember, my dear friends, that manifestation is not always instantaneous. There's often a time lag between the conception of a desire in your imagination and its appearance in your physical reality. This time lag is a test of your faith and persistence. Those who can maintain their chosen state of consciousness, regardless of external circumstances, are the ones who ultimately succeed in bringing their desires into manifestation. Think of it this way. When you plant a seed in the ground, you don't dig it up every day to check its progress. You trust in the natural process of growth. You continue to water and nurture the soil, knowing that in due time the seed will sprout and grow into a plant. The same principle applies to the seeds of your desires, planted in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. Your job is to continue nurturing these seeds through your imagination and feeling. Trust in the law, knowing that what you have planted must inevitably come to fruition. This unwavering faith, this persistent holding to your vision, is a powerful demonstration of mental strength. Now, let us explore another crucial aspect of mental strength: the power of detachment. This might seem paradoxical at first. How can detachment contribute to mental strength? Isn't it important to be passionate and committed to our goals? The truth is, detachment is not about lack of desire or commitment. It's about releasing the anxiety and desperation that often accompany intense wanting. When you are overly attached to a specific outcome, you create resistance. You become tense and fearful, constantly worrying about whether or not your desire will manifest. True mental strength comes from a place of calm certainty. It's the ability to desire something deeply, to work towards it consistently, while simultaneously trusting in the perfect unfolding of events. It's knowing that whether or not a particular desire manifests, you are whole and complete as you are. This state of detachment allows you to remain centered and balanced, regardless of external circumstances. It enables you to enjoy the journey rather than fixating solely on the destination. It frees you from the emotional roller coaster of elation and despair that comes with attachment to outcomes. To cultivate this detachment, Practice surrendering your desires to your higher self, to the divine within you. After you have done your part, living in the end, feeling the reality of your desire. Trust that the infinite intelligence of the universe will bring about the best possible outcome in the best possible way at the best possible time. This surrender is not passive resignation. It is active trust. It is the recognition that while you have the power to shape your reality through your imagination and assumption, the exact manner and timing of manifestation is not always under your conscious control. This balance of active creation and surrender is a hallmark of true mental strength. Now, my dear friends, let us discuss another vital aspect of mental strength, the power of self-discipline. Self-discipline is the ability to control your thoughts, emotions, and actions in service of your higher goals. It is the bridge between your intentions and your results. Many people mistakenly believe that self-discipline is about forcing yourself to do things you don't want to do. But true self-discipline comes from a deep alignment with your highest vision for yourself. When you are clear about what you truly want, when you can feel the reality of your desire, self-discipline becomes natural and effortless. For instance, if you truly embody the state of being a successful and productive person, you will naturally engage in behaviors that support this state. You won't need to force yourself to work hard or to manage your time effectively. These behaviors will flow naturally from your assumed state of being. This is why the practice of living in the end is so powerful. By consistently assuming the state of your wish fulfilled, you naturally align your thoughts, emotions, and actions with that state. This alignment is the essence of self-discipline. However, this doesn't mean that you won't face challenges or moments of weakness. Mental strength is not about never experiencing doubt or fear. It's about how you respond to these experiences when they arise. It's about your ability to return to your chosen state of consciousness, even after temporary lapses. This is where the practice of revision becomes invaluable. If you find yourself slipping into old patterns of thought or behavior, don't berate yourself. Instead, revise the experience of your imagination. See yourself responding in a way that aligns with your highest vision for yourself. Feel the satisfaction and pride of having demonstrated self-discipline and mental strength. As you persist in this practice, you will find your capacity for self-discipline growing. You will become more consistent in your thoughts, emotions, and actions. This consistency is a powerful manifestation of mental strength. Now let us explore another crucial aspect of mental strength, the power of gratitude. Gratitude is not merely a polite social convention. It is a powerful state of consciousness that can transform your entire life experience. When you cultivate an attitude of gratitude, you align yourself with the abundance of the universe. You shift your focus from what you lack to what you already have. This shift in focus changes your entire vibration, making you a magnet for more positive experiences. But gratitude is not just about being thankful for the good things in your life. True mental strength comes from the ability to find something to be grateful for in every situation, even those that appear challenging or unpleasant on the surface. Remember, my friends, every experience, every circumstance contains within it the seed of an equivalent greater benefit. When you can maintain an attitude of gratitude, even in the face of apparent adversity, you demonstrate true mental strength. Moreover, gratitude is a powerful antidote to fear and anxiety. When you focus on what you're grateful for, you cannot simultaneously focus on what you fear. This is why the practice of gratitude is so effective in building mental resilience. I encourage you to make gratitude a daily practice. Each day, take time to reflect on the things you're grateful for. Feel the emotion of gratitude deeply. Let it permeate your entire being. As you do this consistently, you will find your mental state becoming more positive and resilient. Now, let us discuss another vital aspect of mental strength, the power of forgiveness. Many people carry the weight of past hurts and resentments, not realizing how much these negative emotions drain their mental and emotional energy.
Imagine, if you will, the vast expanse of your consciousness a realm of infinite possibilities where time and space bend to the will of your imagination. In this realm, there is no past, no future, only the eternal now, the present moment in which all things are possible. It is here, in this sacred space of your mind, that the impossible becomes possible and the unimaginable becomes real. Now you may ask, how can a mere minute hold such power? The answer, my friends, lies not in the duration of time, but in the intensity of your focus, the unwavering conviction of your belief. For in that 1 minute, you have the ability to completely reshape your inner world, to impress upon your subconscious mind the reality you wish to experience. Consider this: every moment of your waking life, you are imagining, whether you realize it or not. Your mind is constantly creating images, scenarios, and feelings. Most of the time, these imaginings are unconscious, habitual, reflecting the world as you believe it to be. But what if, for just 1 minute, you took conscious control of this incredible power? What if you directed the full force of your imagination towards that which you desire most? In this 1 minute, you must shed all doubts, all fears, all limitations imposed by the external world. You must step boldly into the state of the wish fulfilled, feeling with every fiber of your being that your desire is not something to be achieved in the future, but a present reality, here and now. This is the art of assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the cornerstone of all manifestation. Let me share with you a fundamental truth. Your imagination is God in action within you. It is the creative power of the universe individualized in your consciousness. When you imagine, you are literally shaping the very fabric of reality. And when you imagine with feeling, with the conviction that what you are imagining is real, you set in motion forces beyond your comprehension. Now, some of you may be thinking, but Neville, I tried to imagine better circumstances for myself, and nothing has changed. To this I say, you have not yet fully grasped the power of your imagination. You have not yet learned to live from the end, to experience in your mind and heart the joy, the fulfillment, the absolute certainty that your desire is already yours. This 1 minute of focused imagination is not about daydreaming or wishful thinking. It is about entering a state of consciousness where your desire is so real, so palpable, that to experience it in the external world becomes a foregone conclusion. It is about feeling the naturalness of having what you desire, of being who you wish to be. Let me illustrate this with a simple example. Suppose you desire financial abundance. In your 1 minute of focused imagination, you would not merely picture yourself with money. No, you would feel the peace of mind that comes with financial security. You would experience the joy of generosity, the freedom to pursue your passions without constraint. You would walk, talk, and breathe as someone who is abundantly prosperous. This minute of imagination is not about creating a future state, but about realizing a present fact. For in the realm of imagination, which is the kingdom of God within you, there is no distinction between wish and fulfillment. The moment you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, it is done. Your outer world must by law rearrange itself to match this inner conviction. Now I can hear some of you questioning, but how can 1 minute truly change my life? Surely it takes more time than that to manifest significant changes. My dear friends, let me remind you that time is a construct of the human mind. In the realm of spirit, in the dimension of imagination, there is no time. All is now. When you enter that 1 minute of focused imagination, you are stepping outside of time. You are entering eternity, where all possibilities exist simultaneously. In that minute, you have the power to select the reality you wish to experience, to clothe yourself in the state of consciousness that corresponds to your desire. You think of it this way: when you flip a light switch, does it take time for the room to illuminate? No, it is instantaneous. Similarly, when you flip the switch of your imagination, assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the light of that new reality is kindled immediately. The outer manifestation may take time to appear, but the inner reality, which is the true substance of things, is changed in an instant. This 1 minute is not about forcing change through willpower or action. It is about aligning yourself with the natural law of assumption. For the law states that if you assume you are what you want to be, and continue in that assumption, it must become your reality. This is not magic, not some esoteric practice, but the practical application of a universal principle. Now let me address a common misconception. Many believe that to manifest their desires, they must concentrate on them, constantly straining and struggling to maintain their focus throughout the day. This is not only unnecessary, but counterproductive. The power lies not in the duration of your focus, but in the intensity of your feeling, the completeness of your assumption. This 1 minute done with full conviction is more powerful than hours of half-hearted affirmations or visualizations. Why? Because in that minute, you are not trying to change anything. You are simply recognizing and accepting what is already true in the realm of imagination. You are aligning your consciousness with the reality you wish to experience. Consider the biblical phrase, "Be still and know that I am God." This stillness, this knowing, is what you achieve in your 1 minute of focused imagination. You become still, quieting the chatter of your rational mind, silencing the doubts and fears that would hold you back. And in that stillness, you experience with absolute certainty that you are one with the creative power of the universe. This knowing is not intellectual. It is not about convincing yourself of something. It is about experiencing it as a present fact. When you truly know something, when you have experienced it in your imagination with the fullness of your being, doubt becomes impossible. And where there is no doubt, there is only manifestation. Let me share with you a profound truth. The world you see around you, with all its seeming solidity, is nothing more than a shadow, a reflection of your own consciousness. Everything you perceive, every circumstance you encounter is a manifestation of your assumptions about yourself and the nature of reality. Change your assumptions and you change your world. This 1 minute of imagination is your opportunity to make a fundamental shift in your assumptions. It is your chance to try on a new state of consciousness, to wear it as you would a garment, feeling its texture, its tested, and as you wear this new state, as you live from it even for a minute, you are impressing it upon your subconscious mind. The subconscious mind, my friends, is the true powerhouse of manifestation. It is the soil in which the seeds of your imagination take root and grow. When you impress upon your subconscious the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are planting a seed that must, by the very laws of mind, come to fruition in your outer world. Now, some of you may be wondering, what about action? Don't we need to do something to make our desires manifest? To this I say, inspired action will flow naturally from your changed consciousness. When you have truly assumed the state of the wish fulfilled, you will find yourself naturally taking the steps that lead to its outer realization. But make no mistake, the action is not the cause of the manifestation. It is merely the bridge between your inner assumption and its outer expression. The real work, the true creation, happens in your imagination. Your actions are simply the outer gestures that correspond to your inner knowing. This is why that 1 minute of focused imagination is so crucial. It is the moment when you set the whole machinery of manifestation into motion. It is the moment when you plant the seed of your desire in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. From that point on, the law of growth takes over. Your job is simply to remain faithful to your assumption, to water it with your continued belief. Now let me address another question that may be arising in your minds. What if I can't sustain the feeling of my wish fulfilled for a whole minute? What if doubts creep in? My dear friends, this is natural. The human mind, conditioned by years of limiting beliefs, may initially resist this new way of thinking. But here's the key. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to maintain an unwavering focus for the entire minute. What matters is that you touch that state, that you taste the reality of your desire fulfilled, even if only for a moment. That moment, that split second of complete alignment with your desire, is enough to set the wheels of manifestation in motion. Think of it like striking a match. It takes only a moment to create the spark, but from that spark, a great fire can grow. Similarly, your 1 minute of imagination, even if not perfect, creates the spark of your new reality. And from that spark, your entire world can be transformed. Remember, the power of your imagination is not diminished by your doubts or fears. It is a divine gift, a reflection of the infinite creative power of the universe. It operates with mathematical precision, bringing into manifestation whatever you impress upon it with feeling. Your job is not to make it work, it is always working. Your job is simply to use it consciously, deliberately, to shape your reality according to your desires. Now, let's delve deeper into the mechanics of this 1 minute manifestation. When you close your eyes and enter your imagination, you are entering the realm of infinite possibilities. In this realm, there is no limitation, no restriction. You are free to be, to do, to have whatever you desire. But here's the crucial point. You must enter this realm not as a supplicant, begging for your desires to be fulfilled, but as a creator, knowing that what you imagine is already real. You must approach your imagination with the attitude of a king entering his kingdom, with the absolute certainty that your word is law. In this 1 minute, you are not trying to make something happen. You are acknowledging what is already true in the realm of imagination. You are aligning your consciousness with the reality you wish to experience. This is the true meaning of prayer, not beseeching an external deity, but recognizing and claiming your oneness with the creative power of the universe. As you enter this state, feel the joy, the excitement, the absolute certainty that your desire is fulfilled. Let every cell of your body vibrate with this knowing. Let your breath deepen, your muscles relax, as you sink into the reality of your wish fulfilled. This feeling, this embodiment of your desire, is the secret to its manifestation. Now, some of you may be thinking, but Neville, I've tried to feel my desires fulfilled, and it feels fake. It feels like I'm lying to myself. To this I say, persistence is key. The feeling may seem unnatural at first simply because it is unfamiliar. Your current reality, with all its limitations, has become habitual. It feels real simply because it is familiar. But remember, your current reality was once just as unfamiliar, just as unreal. It became real through repetition, through your continued assumption of its reality. In the same way, your new desired reality will become just as real, just as natural, as you persist in assuming it to be true. This is why the practice of imagining for 1 focused minute can be so transformative. It gives you the opportunity to step out of your habitual state of consciousness and into a new state. And with repetition, this new state becomes increasingly familiar, increasingly natural, until it becomes your dominant state of being. Let me share with you a profound secret. The outer world has no choice but to conform to your inner assumptions. This is not wishful thinking, but a fundamental law of consciousness. Just as an apple seed must grow into an apple tree, so must your inner assumption grow into your outer reality. But here's the key. You must give your imagination time to bear fruit. Just as a farmer doesn't dig up his seeds every day to check their progress, you must not constantly question or doubt the efficacy of your imagination. Plant the seed in your 1 minute of focused imagination, then go about your day in the calm assurance that what you have imagined must by law come to pass. This patience, this unwavering faith in the law of assumption is crucial. For it is in the intervening time between your imaginative act and its physical manifestation that your faith is tested. It is in this time that you must hold fast to your assumption, living from the end, feeling the naturalness of your desire fulfilled. Now let me address a question that often arises. What about big, seemingly impossible desires? Can they really be manifested in just 1 minute? My answer, dear friends, is an unequivocal yes. For in the realm of imagination, there is no distinction between big and small, possible and impossible. Remember, what you are doing that 1 minute is not creating something new, but recognizing something that already exists in the realm of infinite possibilities. Whether your desire is for a cup of coffee or for world peace, the process is the same. You are selecting a state of consciousness, a version of reality, and through your assumption, bringing it into manifestation. The size or scope of your desire is irrelevant. What matters is the intensity of your feeling, the completeness of your assumption. A mountain is no more difficult for the law to move than a molehill. Both conform with equal ease to your assumption. The only limitation is in your own mind, in your own willingness to assume the state of the wish fulfilled. Let me illustrate this with a personal anecdote. Many years ago, I desired to travel to Barbados, my homeland, but I had no money, no means of making the journey. Instead of focusing on these outer limitations, I chose to enter my imagination. For a few minutes each night, I would lie in my bed in New York and imagine that I was in Barbados. I felt the tropical breeze on my skin, heard the rustle of palm leaves, smelled the salt air. I lived and moved and had my being in Barbados, all within my imagination. I did not question how this trip would come about. I simply lived from the assumption that I was already there. Within a few weeks, to my utter amazement, received a letter from my brother in Barbados. He had, out of the blue, decided to pay for my trip home. The outer manifestation aligned perfectly with my inner assumption, bridging the seemingly impossible gap between my desire and its fulfillment. This, my friends, is the power of that 1 minute of focused imagination. It has the ability to set in motion forces beyond your current understanding, to rearrange the very fabric of a reality to match your inner conviction. Now I want to address a common pitfall that many fall into when attempting to manifest their desires. They focus on the process, on the how of manifestation, rather than on the end result. This is a mistake. Your job is not to figure out how your desire will be fulfilled. Your job is simply to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. In your 1 minute of imagination, do not concern yourself with the steps that might lead to your desire. Do not try to plan or strategize. Simply step into the state where your desire is already fulfilled. Feel it, live it, know it as an accomplished fact. The how will take care of itself. Remember, the creative power of your imagination is infinitely more intelligent than your rational mind. It has access to information, to possibilities that your conscious mind cannot even conceive of. By trying to figure out the how, you are limiting yourself to what you currently believe is possible. Instead, in that 1 minute, surrender yourself completely to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Let go of all preconceptions about what is possible or impossible. Allow yourself to be guided by your imagination, trusting that it knows the perfect way to bring your desire into manifestation. This surrender, this complete faith in the power of your imagination is what distinguishes those who manifest their desires with ease from those who struggle. It is the difference between trying to make something happen and allowing it to happen, between effort and grace. Now let me share with you another crucial aspect of this 1 minute manifestation technique. It is not enough to simply visualize your desire. You must feel it. You must experience it with all your senses. For it is your feeling that gives life to your imagination, that impresses it upon your subconscious mind. In your 1 minute of focused imagination, engage all your senses. If you desire a new home, don't just see it in your mind's eye. Feel the smooth banister under your hand as you climb the stairs. Smell the fresh paint on the walls. Hear the sound of your footsteps echoing in the spacious rooms. Taste the meal you're enjoying in your new dining room. The more real you can make it in your imagination, the more quickly and easily it will manifest in your outer world. For remember, your imagination is not creating something new. It is selecting from the infinite possibilities that already exist. The more vividly you experience your desire in imagination, the more powerfully you draw that particular possibility into your physical experience. This sensory vividness is crucial because your conscious mind does not distinguish between what you imagine and what you experience in the physical world. To your subconscious, a vividly imagined experience is just as real as a physical one. And it is your subconscious mind, remember, that is the true engine of manifestation. Now, some of you may be wondering, but what if I imagine my desire and nothing happens? What if I don't see immediate results? To this I say patience and persistence are key. The seed you plant in your imagination needs time to grow. Just as a physical seed doesn't sprout overnight, the seed of your desire may take time to manifest in your outer world. But make no mistake, from the moment you plant that seed in your imagination, forces beyond your comprehension are set in motion to bring it into fruition. During this time of waiting, it is crucial that you maintain your faith. Continue to live from the assumption that your desire is fulfilled. In your daily life, act as you would if your desire were already a physical fact. This consistent assumption, this unwavering faith, is what allows your desire to manifest with ease and grace. Remember, the outer world is nothing more than a reflection of your inner assumptions. As you persist in assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled, your outer world must, by law, rearrange itself to match this inner conviction. It has no choice, for there is no power outside of you that can overrule the creative power of your own imagination. In conclusion, my dear friends, I urge you to test this law for yourself. Take just 1 minute each day to step into the state of your wish fulfilled. Feel it, live it, know it as a no, accomplish that. Then go about your day in the calm assurance that what you have imagined must come to pass. For remember, imagination creates reality. And in that 1 minute of focused imagination, you have the power to reshape your entire world.